Hello and welcome to the World GT Championship live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Andrew Woodhouse, and Sam Kuma is on the cameras this evening. And we're very excited for round 5 of the championship of season 5 of this fantastic series. And Andrew, we went through the first race together. I don't know if you caught much of the other rounds, but it's been a really competitive championship so far. It's kept us guessing all the way. And this Monza circuit is undoubtedly going to be one of the most open races of the season.
Yeah, good evening, Sam. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Monza. Ciao a tutti and all that. Yeah, I did round one of the season. It was very enjoyable. It looks like it's going to be... it's a huge field we've got. We've got 55 cars. We've got several newcomers as well. The organisers just freshening up the lineup a little bit. So, yeah, we should get some exciting racing. 3 rounds to go tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, in the championship, Sindri Setsas has taken a little bit of a lead in the championship. It's only 4 points though he is ahead. The past few rounds, because he won at Sebring and scored more points than anyone.
Oh my God, look at this.
Look at this. Everyone coming out of the pit. It's always fantastic to see. And, well, going almost side by side down this straight. They want a little bit of clear air, but at the same time, they want to also cool down the tyres, drop the pressures quite a bit so they have a quick first lap.
Look at that queue in the pit lane. Well, that's got to be an unsafe exit, isn't it? Going over the white line?
You can go about halfway down it. I think you get away with it. So, well, we'll see. Of course, if they do go the line, they'll have to escape straight back to the pits. Of course, Christian Reyes is second in the championship. Josh Thompson, a little bit detached, despite having a lot of pace so far this season. He's claimed pole position at every round so far this season. Jamie Rushworth is in 4th, and Ben Hagson in 5th position. And yeah, well, of course, the team play as well around here, Woody, is going to be absolutely crucial because, of course, the slipstream effect is so important. If you can, if your teammates can help you out, that can give you the crucial quarter of a second, 3/10 of a second that you need.
It's very difficult to negotiate qualifying around here. Like you say, you don't want to get in each other's way. I mean, normally it wouldn't be too bad here, but I mean, you can see the track map. You can see it for yourself. I mean, 2/3 of the circuit's covered in GTE cars, so finding that gap, find that good lap, it's going to be difficult. It's also going to be difficult for the teams to orchestrate these qualifying laps, to orchestrate these slipstreams and things like that, Sam, as well, because normally it's quite a fairly easy job to do, but so many cars, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely. Josh Thompson at the front of this pack then. And just taking a very wide line going on to the pit straight. And giving the slipstream to the drivers behind in that Ford. And yeah, he's not going to have much supports in that car. So it's going to have to be a very good lap from him. Look at all the cars behind her, all jostling for position. Undoubtedly, lots of laps are going to be ruined at the start of this session. But you only need one good one, and they've got 15 minutes to do so. As Thompson enters turn 1 a little bit slidey, and that's going to cause a bit of a concertina. Everyone behind all getting a little bit caught out. Let's pass the Radicals driver though. Thompson throws away that first lap.
Yeah, it's just tough to see anything out there for the drivers, I think, and tough to get that space. I'm not sure who I'm looking at here. I think it's Dan Craft that I might be looking at. I don't know if I'm seeing exactly what you're seeing. Yeah,
I think maybe need to reboot the our software or something. Because certainly I'm seeing Thompson at the moment, and he's having to try to get out of the way of absolutely everyone falling. Loads of track positions. There's a driver flies off the circuit, all going on at the moment. But of course, one of the most important things about this race, Woody, is going to be that turn 1. We've already talked about a few new drivers to this series. Hopefully, unlike Watkins Glen, of course, we don't see too many problems going on the first lap. But of all the circuits, this is one of the most dangerous ones.
I've seen some comments from a few of the drivers ahead of this round, and you know, Paul Smith said 50 odd cars into turn 1 at Monza. You know, that'll go well, and I think, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to see. I mean, the drivers at the back have got to be very vigilant, Sam, because you know, you do not want to lose tons of places on lap 1, but you also do not want to be tucked up right behind the car in front, because you can just get so easily caught out. I mean, they check up so badly into there that, you know, you do not want a face full of GTE cars to start your race.
Yeah, absolutely not. And of course, the great news confirmed earlier on, the BMW M8 is coming to iRacing just a couple of weeks away. Will be implemented for the new build.
The big
And
boy.
yes, the big boy. Dear. Of course,
Will it fit on the course, Sam? Will it fit on the track?
Impossible to overtake. It will be quite an addition to it, and fantastic memes are going to be very possible now with the M8. But
It's a
yeah,
very good car, though. In all seriousness, isn't it? It looks very good. I'm sure the drivers will like it.
yeah, definitely. I don't know about the sound. I think it's a bit quiet. I'm not fully aware actually, but yeah, either way, it's going to be a good addition, no doubt. And apparently, they're increasing the number of cars we can have to 7 as well. So for the official series like IMSA and the iRacing Le Mans series, that's not going to be too much of an issue now that we've got 4 GTEs. So lots of possibilities. Maybe have 2 GT Pro cars, 2 GT AM cars. A lot of possibilities for this series maybe to move into. I'm sure, despite the hefty penalty that these drivers pick up by changing cars, we will see that car quite prominent by the end of the season.
Hefty penalty, hefty car. But yeah, it'll
Yes.
probably come into play at some point. This is Dan Macaulay going into the Curve de la Rogia. Negotiates that pretty well. 4th currently on a 144.0. Sindre Setsas has gone fastest of all. 143.4, championship leader. Kyle Jansen just behind him, former World GT champion as well. Off goes Dan Macaulay. That'll ruin that one. It's not what he wanted. Ross McFarlane up to 4th place. Ash Sutton up to 5th in the CQR car. A lot of CQR cars actually out there, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. 10 years apparently since CQR was formed, or I don't know, 10 years since something. There's no doubt about that, not just 2009.
Lee Deemer then coming across. And what does he do? He actually doesn't improve, stays in 11th place. Dave Jansen coming to the finish line as well, just behind Christian Rose. Rose currently without a time set. What does he do? The man lying 2nd in the championship comes across the line, takes the shortest route to that line and goes 9th on 144.3.
Yeah, it tends to be in the top 2 rows of the grid, does Rose, so well, it needs to improve a little bit there. As driver just behind goes a little bit off. He is going for another quick lap though, Rose. Of course, with the with the amount of maybe not necessarily the downforce that you need around this circuit, maybe that 2nd lap could be even faster than the first because he got ever so slightly less fuel. That might just give you maybe the half a tenth that you need to extract down these straights. And of course, the older tyres aren't going to be too costly through the corners. 27 degrees track temperature, by the way, today. So not too bad whatsoever in that department. It could warm up a bit later on. But yeah, that's not going to be too much of a factor as maybe it was at Suzuka.
Yeah, nice bright sunshine at the moment. Just means the drivers might have to look after the tyres a little bit, but these GT tyres are usually pretty durable. I mean, let's face it, they get double and triple stinted at Le Mans in the 24 hours, so they can. And this is kind of a similar circuit, really, in for all intents and purposes to Circuit de la Sarthe. Slightly less bumpy, but that might be it. Yeah, now, over the line goes Michael Blake. He was 36th, and he goes up into 31st. Look at this, look at the turn 1. There's people bailing onto the escape road. There's a few cowering on the inside. Just trying not to get in anybody's way. And most people doing that pretty well. I haven't seen any crashes or anything so far, which I'm quite amazed about.
Yeah, I haven't even seen any blocking. I don't think there's any penalties for blocking. Of course, intentional, you might get some choice words. And of course, I wouldn't like to be in 30 races. There's going to be an opportunity to hit off a few of your opponents, so I certainly wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of them early on in the day. It's John Roberts in the one clean spot of the track comes across the line, and he actually goes 21st, not bad for John. And, well, how far is that off pole position? 44.6. He's only 1.2 seconds off the pace, and that really does show the competitiveness of this field. The top 14 separated by 1 second, and behind that it's ever so close. Yeah, just so great to see lots of
Setsas increased his lead, Sam, at the top. Just took 1/10 of a second off that. Stuart McFadden's got up into the top 10 as well, in 10th place. Less than a second off the lead. Now, Jamie Rushworth goes 9th himself, only 3/4 of a second off. Jason Dilworth, who's a new driver to the series, I believe, goes up into P7. That's impressive. Ash Sutton goes to the top.
Great lap there from Ash. Only 0.5 of a second faster than Sinjay Setsas. Maybe getting the slipstream from his teammate Josh Thompson was very important. I was going to say earlier on how this circuit's very similar to Daytona. And Daytona, as Thompson goes into the wall, Daytona was very much the preferred, also the Ferrari was the preferred car for Daytona. So maybe Setsas in that core sim racing Ferrari could maybe have a bit of an advantage. But Ash
top speed for the Ferrari, though, isn't it?
Definitely.
I mean, I like it a lot. I like the Ferrari a lot. I raced it at Le Mans in 2017, and yeah, very, very nice to drive. Very stable. Yeah, just like the car a lot. Dan McCauley, he's crossing the line now to complete another lap. What has he done? He hasn't done anything. He's just on and out lap, I think. Ben Hackson going fairly quickly, Sam, as well, with 3 personal best sectors.
Yeah, I'm going to have to turn on my sector times on my lifetime because I've forgotten to do so. As Macaulay goes a bit wide. His last lap wasn't an out lap, it was just a bad lap, basically. I think he made a mistake. And, well, he's trying to improve, but almost certainly this lap is over already after that slight mistake going through the first chicane. He'll try to pick up the slipstream. That might be some redemption for him. But Macaulay back in the top 10, to be fair. Suzuka wasn't his best round of the season, but looking strong at the moment. Needs to try to break into the 43 of those to get any higher.
P8 for Ben Hackerson, his first successful timed effort. On Dan McCauley as well, he races in the Sim Racers World GT Championship on Thursdays as well, and he's doing very well in that, leading the silver class. Lane O'Connor improves, 35th. To be honest, you think 35th, you don't think that's any great going, do you? But there's 55 cars out here, so pretty decent for O'Connor there to get into pretty much the middle.
Yeah, Nate's
drivers going across the Curve de la Roja, missing it completely.
Yeah, Nate's had a... Ooh, that was very close with, I think that may be Matt Bunn there for Simmortal. But yeah, O'Connor's had a couple of good races actually recently. Euro V8 he was very competitive in just over a week ago, and also the World F3 Championship on the Wednesday. Sister Championship, of course, to this. And he's been gradually improving in that as well. Jesse Stevens, currently a very competitive 10th. He's certainly improved a lot this season, using that Ferrari to his advantage. But this is certainly not going to be an improvement for him.
These times are going to be very, very close, I think, once we get to the end of it. Constant improvement now from everybody. Here's Dion Phillips. He was sat in 23rd place. What does he do now? Goes up to 20th and inside a second off of the provisional pole time set by Ash Sutton, the 2017 British Touring Car Champion.
Of course, anyone who saw the Bathurst 12 hours a couple of weeks ago will know that the real-life drivers didn't go so well in that. Unfortunately, they didn't have the chance to drive after their team manager unfortunately made contact with a wall. Would have been great to see, but unfortunately not. But certainly, Ashley Sutton representing the real-life drivers very well out there at the moment.
Well, I heard that Max Verstappen was going down the mountain with no wheels on his car. Is that true?
Oh, I didn't see that one, but
that's what I heard anyway. It was a shame because I definitely wanted to see how he and Lando Norris and Atsi Kirkov, and I don't remember who the fourth one was necessarily.
It was apparently it's the team manager of Red Line, I think, and he was the one who put it
Oh,
in the
what,
wall.
Dom, was it? It was Dom driving, was he?
Oh, I don't know. Please let us know on
We'll
the
find out.
and yeah, either way, it didn't go well. They're out of the race within 10 minutes. But hopefully Ash is doing a much better job. By the way, Ben Gregory up in 7th place. What a good job that is. I know he's got a very good setup for this Monza circuit, and he's using it very effectively in his Ferrari. So very competitive currently up in 7th, just ahead of Jason Dilworth. Is there any more drivers setting fast times? Josh Thompson has set pole position every race so far this season. 4 out of 4. It's not looking good for 5 out of 5, but he is currently midway through a lap. And boy, does this have to be an immense lap. He's only 1/10 of pole position at the moment.
A bit wide there. But in the
Oh,
background, somebody having a spin.
Dima, I think.
The drivers improving, but only going up maybe 1 or 2 places. Christian Rose is on a lap as well. Dan Kraft's on a lap. He's about to come across. What does he do? BSRTC multiple race winner in that. 34th for Dan Kraft. But Thompson on his way towards the Parabolica. Just got that to negotiate. Can this be a faster lap for Thompson? Green 4th sector. Nice and smooth through there. Get on the power as early as you can. Go all the way out to the white line on the outside. Then maybe cut back to the inside for the shortest route to the flag. Here we go, Sam. Could it be pole?
No! What? No,
No!
it is. It is.
I don't know if it is.
No, it's matched. He's pole
second.
position by less than 1,000th of a second.
Oh, it says 0.000 on our timing screen. And Josh Thompson, and I assume that he goes second based on Sutton setting it first if you go by a lot of the other...
On iRacing, yeah, that's according to our live timing system, but on iRacing it goes down to more decimal points, and on that he is ahead of Ash Sutton by less than 1,000th of a second. Quite incredible. 1:43.337. And
Bun going quickly. On his final lap, he was in 20th, but he set 3 personal best sectors. And can he move up? He just needs, say, 0.2 of a second to get up into the top 10. Wait a minute. What's happened there?
I don't think he's going to improve, to be honest. I was waiting for Haref
I think you see that.
there, but not quite. Morgan Butler into the wall.
Ah, well. That was an anticlimax if you've ever seen one, wasn't it? Ah, dear. That was that was a fantastic finish. And Ash Sutton does break Josh Thompson's monopoly then of pole position starts.
Thompson's on pole.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's all right, okay.
Yeah, on our timing screen, because he set the time second, he's been put behind. But on iRacing, because it goes down to 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 decimal points, he's ahead. So by that,
okay,
with ease for Josh Thompson. I'm sure he'll say that. But well, we know that run to the line. Undoubtedly, if he hadn't taken that run to the line, he would have been miles off. He would have been upwards of half a 100th behind. So every little counts for Josh Thompson. Of course, is it a full formation lap round here? No, it's going into Ascari, isn't it? But going to the grid now. So Josh Thompson is on pole position by less than 1,000th of a second ahead of Ash Sutton. On second row of the grid is Carl Janssen and Sinjay sets us the 2 teammates. They could be very formidable in this race. The top 3, the top 4, by the way, separated by less than half a 10th of a second. Then a bit of a gap back to Ross McFarlane and Jesse Stevens. Michael Abdoka running well for Fitzpatrick spot in 7th. Then it's Jake Blackhall in 8th. Ben Gregory up there in 9th. And Jason Dilworth in 10th. Then behind that is Ben Hackerson. Christian Rose, championship 2nd position. He's a little bit off in qualifying, at least in 12th. Dan McCauley in 13th. There's Andy Shield and Jamie Rushworth rounding out the top 15. Behind that is Chris Daines, Richard Warmingham, Mark Woodhouse, David Baker, Matt Bunn, Stuart McFadden, Dion Phillips, Steve Lavelli, Simon Underhill, Lee Deemer, David White, Mike Gray, Paul Smith, John Roberts, Dave Janssen, Lane O'Connor, Robert Lundgren, Chris Wood, Ewan Kaiser, Dan Kraft, Ronald Moons, Adam Hedgecock, Michael Blake, Josh Rayfield, Miguel Freitas, Jamie Ayres, Lars Van Rijn, Jason Rowe, Steve Burke, Luke Clark, Morgan Butler, Stuart Atkinson, Lee Woodburn, Scott Malcolm, and Anthony Jacobson, rounding out those 50 drivers in the drivers who didn't set times. That may be, I think that's just because they didn't have time to set a time, or maybe made mistakes, or that could be due to penalties. Laidler, Hall, Palmer, Rusi, and Spooner. So 54 drivers.
Well done. That's always a fun time trying to read all that out. But yeah, jumping back into the series after a few weeks off, and bit of a baptism of fire with that ending to qualifying. So yeah, with the microseconds.
I'd love to know how many decimal points that was.
I mean, how many more decimal places do you need, Sam? We already have 3. I mean, you know, Josh and Ash, they should both be kicked out of the championship for that, making it too difficult for us. But I tell you what, this is going to be some run into turn 1. 55 angry GT3s, all trying to pile into the Rettifilio. How many of them are going to come out the other side? I've absolutely no idea. Well, yeah, it is a massive field. Says the man on the YouTube chat. It's huge, and it's about to spring into life, Sam, as the safety car rounds Parabolica are about to get underway.
Yeah, Josh Thompson's got used to this position. He's alongside Ash Sutton on the front row of the grid. CQR v CQR, course sim racing, then course sim racing. You're about to get underway for meeting 5 of the World GT Championship. Josh Thompson from the pole position, and he gets away here at Monza. Straight away gives his teammate a bit of a slipstream. They're going to try to fend off the core drivers straight away. And Thompson trying to give his teammate as much as slipstream.
Oh no!
There's a massive crash, and this could be a big issue. But no, Ash Sutton stays on the side of the circuit, thankfully. Oh, he's going to try to rejoin. There's almost contact. There is contact, but we might just be okay. No, we've got a massive crash, and that could involve a few more drivers as well. But it's right at the rear of the field, thankfully. But Josh Thompson away in the lead, and just the tiniest of attempts, may have even been netcode, not quite sure. And yeah, granted the win.
Who was with him on that one?
I think it was just him.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was Sets.
Oh yeah, the other car survived.
Yeah, I think it was Janssen, because he's dropped back to 4th now, and crucially fallen a little bit out of the slipstream range. So Janssen, who was so strong at the last round at Suzuka, seemed to be the fastest driver on the circuit. Well, he's already making that gap back up with some very aggressive driving.
Well, don't forget, he is a former world champion, Carl Janssen. He's won the World GT Championship before. Having a look now at Sindre Setsas, the man who leads the championship by 4 points. And I think he's trying to make us use that 4th decimal place again. He's that close to Josh Thompson. Here we go then. Is he going to have a go into Parabolica? It's not always the wisest choice. Somebody goes very wide out of Ascari, uses all that runoff area. I think it's a green and white car. I'm not exactly sure who it was, but through Parabolica again. Ross McFarlane is in close quarters with Jake Blackwell.
Yeah, McFarlane was really wide coming out of Ascari, I believe. Let past Avdoka, and now they're going side by side for the lead. Setsas, championship leader. Thompson, 3rd in the championship. He's really deep on the brakes. Is Josh Thompson, has he got it stopped? Yes, he has, but only just. He's under big pressure. Setsas makes a little bit of contact, if anything. Helps Thompson with the acceleration, and now he's going to be back into the slipstream. This is what Thompson's going to have to put up with for the next 15 minutes or so, or even 18 minutes. Of Setsas goes to the outside again. You can pull off this move as deep on the brakes at the 100-meter marker. But Thompson has got it covered at the moment. Setsas is just going to get the cutback for every single corner. And Thompson, well, there's no sign of him making a break.
That was amazing braking by Josh Thompson, as off goes Ben Gregory's in the Texense Fitzstein Motorsport car. I blame you for that one. That's not the easiest one to say. Now, side by side, Dion Phillips involved, and that looks like Lee Deemer, the Porsche. There's a Team Mad car in there as well. Is that a bump draft attempt by the Ferrari of Phillips? Is it? Or is that McFadden?
I think it's Phillips on the outside, as Warmingham also on the outside just ahead of them, trying to get the cut back, but all over the curves, and he's going to be on the next curve where he's off the circuit either way, and really getting a wiggle on. There was Richard Warmingham, really strong by the way in the F3s last week, but struggling a little bit out there at the moment, as Janssen goes down the inside of Stevens. He's having an awesome run out there at the moment for Radicals Online. It's now two core drivers, CQR and Radicals, because of course the issue for Ash Sutton early on is Thompson's having to go defensive once again. And maybe round the outside this time will be Sets as he tries to keep his nose in there, but he just didn't have the momentum. And all of a sudden now it's Janssen on their tails. And well, this is really where the two core sim racing drivers can team up on the race leader.
I'm just sitting back and watching this. It's great stuff. 50 odd cars going to battle. Still got 52 out of the ones who started, and in fact Lars Van Rijn and Josh Rayfield, who had crashed on the opening lap, and Ash Sutton have now emerged from the pits. See what they can do out there anyway. Maybe just get some practice in for the remaining races. John Roberts, Jamie Ayres dropping down the order. I'm not exactly sure what's happened to them. I think it's been a pit stop for John Roberts. It says Richard Warmingham's crashed. Is that true? I think it is. He's been off at Curva della Rosia. That's not particularly great in terms of his race. Let's see what happens. It's with
Hackerson.
Ben Hackerson in the Ford. Ooh, and there's an interloper down the inside. It makes it 3 wide. And the Porsche and the Ferrari get a bit sandwiched.
Well, he's got away without too much damage there. Warming was super unlucky. I think that was Phillips and someone else on his inside. Phillips actually just behind him still. As Thompson, well, we've got a 4-car chair. Unfortunately, Michael Abdoka for Textend's Pitstone Motorsport can't get involved in this one because he got detached earlier on. But here comes Setsas once again. Side by side, wants to go to the inside, but, well, Thompson will just run him off the circuit or into the pit wall if he tries that. As now we might see 3 wide. Here comes Carl Janssen down the inside into turn 1, but the opportunity was not there. He's got to make sure that he doesn't take out his teammate going turn 1. Round the outside goes Sinjay Setsas. He's going to have the inside for the next one, but Thompson is still just pulling ahead. And we are going to have to go back to that 4th decimal point because they are side by side down into Curva Grande. And, well, if there's an opportunity for Janssen to make this 3-1, I'm sure he will take it. But this track is just not well enough at this point. Maybe Sets us with the ideal line this time. Just pulling alongside with the extra speed down the straights. And Sinjay takes the lead. The championship leader takes control of the race.
Fantastic overtake in Curva della Rosia. That is not easy to do. Not easy when the other car is also committed. Now the Norwegian's going to try and escape at the front from Josh Thompson and Carl Janssen. Janssen goes a bit wide. Again, it's not going to bother him too much the outside of Lesmo, but you can't get greedy on the outside there. It's all right skimming the gravel, Sam, but when you start going through it, as some of them do, then it causes some problems. Michael Hall in bother, I think, for the CQR team, celebrating 10 years of their existence this year in 2019.
Yeah, fallen quite far down the field has Hall after a decent qualifying, I believe. I think he was in the top 15 on the grid. By the way, Abdoka and McFarlane making big gains on these guys. They've already made up 1 second on this lap so far. As Thompson, well, I'm not quite sure who's got the better straight line speed. But Thompson, well, he's gaining a lot down the straight. And, he's going to the inside, but a little bit of a late block there from Setsas. Well, I'm sure the Isle of Man Joe won't be happy with that as he tries the same move on his rival as he got done by on the previous lap, and they make contact, certainly getting a little bit personal between these two. They had a really interesting battle at Suzuka last time out where it got very pricey. Neither Joe was particularly happy with one another, and maybe that rivalry is igniting once again here in Italy as Janssen getting boxed in. What can Stevens get to into the chicanes? Thompson's super deep on the brakes. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. He takes back the race lead.
Awesome stuff. really, really exciting stuff in the World GT Championship here.
And Avdoka and McFarlane only 1.5 seconds behind these four now. So it's going to be a 6-car train soon. Maybe even Blackhall as well getting involved.
Yeah, Blackhall, the Australian, trying to assert himself on this race. This is the World GT Championship on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by Apex Racing TV. Andrew Woodhouse and Sam Fitzpatrick here. Adam Bath is working at the FA Cup tonight, so can't be with us, but we look forward to having him back next week. Although I might stay after this, Sam, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I missed this championship. I've done all the 4 seasons of the championship before this one, so here we go then. Once more, Setsas versus Thompson, and Avdoka with a very fast lap as well in pursuit of these guys in P5. Oh, the Ferrari very late on the brakes of Stevens, and Thompson almost cuts the nose off of Setsas there.
Yeah, that time the outside line not working into the first chicane, but it's the inside line that you want going into the second chicane. And, well, he will have that. Thompson going right to the inside. No dummy that time from Setsas. And, well, once you're on the outside there, there's absolutely no opportunity. But these guys they're kind of just, you know, not benefiting anyone because, let's face it, this is going to go down to the last lap as long as they don't make a mistake. And they're kind of just inviting other drivers in, like Avdoka and McFarlane. Might be better for them just to stay in line and, you know, just make sure that they stay in the top 4.
Well, yeah, because a few laps ago when we were watching these 4 battling, you couldn't see anyone in the background. Now you see about 7 or 8 cars chasing them down. So 4 seconds now separates the top 10. Andy Shield of CQR Sim Sports is the 10th man indeed.
Yeah, and he was 1 second faster than the race leaders on that last lap. So, yeah, he just needs to get on with it. And to be fair to that big pack behind, they're not fighting. They realise that they've got a chance at maybe even winning this race if they just work together and make up some time. So full credit to McFarlane and Blackwell and Rose.
Sorry, Sam, great battle going on between Simon Underhill. There's a problem for Simon Underhill. It was a great battle between him and like Mark Woodhouse and Mike Gray and a few of the others down there, but don't know exactly what's happened to Underhill, but he's ended up the wrong way around coming out of Ascari. What's happened to him? Did he carry too much speed in? Yes, he has. He's going to try and be a hero over the grass at the curbs, and yeah, just run out of grip. Battling with is that Luke Clark at the minute? Yep. Yep,
in the XVR livery. And yeah, Underhill was 2nd or 3rd, I think, in the AM standings until that point, as Janssen moves up into 2nd place. So I wonder if that was choreographed then between the 2 core teammates.
Paul Smith's crashed, I think.
Ah, dear. Was in 20th, I think. Deemer's off as well.
Deemer into the gravel. This is Smith. Oh, and it's caused, I think, by the nonsense in front of him. Oh, he hasn't technically crashed. He just had to come to a standstill. Can't talk, it's that exciting. There's that many cars out there. Enough stuff going on. David White's had a problem out there, but you're still just 1 and a bit seconds separating the top 4. 3 seconds between, well, 5 seconds or so between the top 10 now. Looking at your own Kaiser now, Sam, in the Team Mad Ferrari, Dutchman.
Yeah, and he's holding off Lavelli at the moment. He's under pressure from Gregory. He had that issue earlier on, a little bit out of position is Ben at the moment. And well, he's just got a lot of, well, he's lost a lot of momentum there. And it's cost him on the exits. Warmingham now moves ahead of Kraft. But those two are side by side, Kraft with the slipstream. As we go back to the race leaders, because Janssen is trying to go around the outside. This is the move that Setsas pulled off, the move that Thompson pulled off, and now the move that Janssen has pulled off to take the lead of the race. But back comes Thompson. He's got a slightly better run out to that corner, but as long as Janssen can just keep part of his car alongside, he's going to have the inside for the second chicane, which is proven to be the line that you want. But Thompson is so brave on the outside. He's not going to give this one up. Without a fight, but he has to back out this time, and all of a sudden Janssen really putting away. Thompson having to lose time now, holding off Setsas.
Yeah, it's getting feisty up there now. Not a great deal of time left in the race. How long have we got exactly? We've only got 7 minutes, just under.
Abdoka well and truly onto the back of this one. Also Rose up into 7th. Looks as though him and McFarlane aren't going to quite catch this in time. But Abdoka, well, he just needs to try to pick off these Joes. He won race 3 at Road America, which was round 2 of the championship. And he'll be fancying his chances at the moment, despite him maybe being the slowest out of this 5.
Yeah, sometimes it can be the best place to be. I think, you know, sometimes watching the others go to battle is probably better than being in the battle yourself, because especially at Monza, when anything can really happen, as now this is the best view in the house. You're inside Sindre Setsas' car. He's got massive overspeed. He's going to go for the middle now.
This can't work out. Thompson on the inside. Is it going to be contact? Setsas round the outside. He's going to have the inside. No, it's all 3 of them coming together. And is it going to be Jesse Stevens going past all of them? And maybe if Docker's going to have a chance as well. It is 3rd position. Setsas then. Thompson and Janssen fall away. And Abdoka, we were talking about it before, 5th to 2nd in just 1 corner. And now this could be a duel between the Radicals and the Fitzpatrick Motorsport driver to the finish.
You feel that Setsas could potentially have got out of it when he was bouncing along the curbs and the sleeping policeman on the inside, but he kept in it. Maybe that was all he could do. And Stevens now goes wide, and he opens the door for Michael Abdoka. And he got a slight nudge by Setsas, who's come back into it, and Thompson, and Janssen. This is unbelievable stuff. They're 3 wide now.
No room for Thompson, surely. No, he's pulling ahead. Abdoka probably does the wise thing in backing out, but Setsas has got the inside, and he'll just go ahead. Abdoka moves back down into the 5th position, and Setsas gets it stopped, but now he's held up all the other drivers behind. They'll undoubtedly catch up to Stevens, I think, but somehow it's almost reset itself.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't actually affected them all really too much. Stevens, Sam, from half a lap ago being all at sea and looking like he was going to lose 2 or 3 places, has managed to get 3/4 of a second lead. I can guarantee you that's not going to last, because the rest of them are going to pick up the tow and drag back towards him. And the American, well, he's got a big job ahead of him now.
Well, this is where they've got to use their brains, undoubtedly, Setsas, Thompson and Janssen, and think about, you know, winning this race instead of beating one another, because if they start fighting, that will throw away this their chance of the race.
By the way, terrific battle going on here between Dilworth and Shield for 7th and 8th place. Unfortunately, we're not really seeing a lot of it because of pressing matters at the front, but these two going wheel to wheel through Curva Grande. And the tension's building all the way through the field here in the World GTs. Up the inside for Dilworth. Makes the corner absolutely beautifully.
We've also lost Christian Rose from this race, seemingly, which is quite a big change. As
oh no!
2 by 2 into turn 2 or 3.
Oh.
McFarlane just about pulling ahead.
And look who's sneaking through. It's Chris Daines. Sneaks up on Hackerson.
Nicely done from the Northern Lights racing driver.
He's got a good run here on the Ferrari of McFadden. Daines switching sides now. McFadden holds the middle of the circuit. Daines tries the long cutback. It's basically a triple cutback through Ascari. And he has a good run, but there's a Ford on his outside. He can't pull out of this, Sam, now.
He'll be tempted to go on the grass. He just has enough time to go across. It spots on Datsui saying he was okay. That's a driver stopped on the inside.
is that?
I think that's a lap down driver. It may have been Rose who had already had an issue as Danes pulls ahead now. That's very impressive from Chris Danes, but he's going to be under pressure once again from McFadden and Hackerson. McFadden looks to the inside. There's only going to be grass there, but very generous there. It's the Northern Lights racer.
He's leaving him the space.
And now it's going to go 3 wide once again through the middle. Goes Ben Hackerson, and that is a superb move if he can get it stopped, which he can't quite as they make contact on the exit. They're driving into one another, and maybe this is an opportunity for Danes to take back these 2 positions. But he's boxed in. Now he tries to move across like he did down the back straight. Didn't work out quite as well this time. Almost space on the inside. He goes to the outside instead.
I think, as much as McFadden, I think we have to go to the front. Because it's all closed up again. It's less than 3/4 of a second between the top 4. And Docker and McFarlane are still there too. We've got 111 viewers at the moment. Welcome everybody to the later stages of this race. We're so glad you can join us on this Monday evening. And what a race we served up for you tonight on the iRacing Esports Network. And it continues to deliver. But who'll be delivering the victory? I didn't look at points, Sam. I think it could all come to a head here, and it has now. Stevens is around, and over goes Thompson, and into the lead goes Setsas.
McFarlane is up into 2nd place. He's gone from 6th to 2nd in just a couple of corners. Incredible scenes. And Setsas in that pile-up wins out this time. And this is how it all happened. Was it contact from Thompson maybe just behind? I think it was just a slide, to be fair, from Stevens. And it managed to collect all the other drivers. That's the fry on the inside.
Oh, maybe he got a slight... It's possible that Setsas might have given him the tiniest of taps and... to unsettle the rear, maybe. We're not going to know fully, maybe until we look at it later on, but Setsas leads by 3/4 of a second. This will be the final lap, Sam.
McFarlane trying to get within the slipstream range. He's 9/10 of a second behind, though. This isn't going to quite be good enough for Ross McFarlane. He'll undoubtedly take this position. Thompson's dropped down to 8.
What's going on here?
To 6. As Kaiser drops down.
Crash at the first corner. Don't know what's happened. My timing screen's gone completely, but Setsas still leads the way. He's got 9/10 of a second now, Sam, but will it last? I don't know. Crazy battles going on in the midfield. So we need to get to the front, though.
If Docker's going to be close from McFarlane come the line, but it looks as though Sinjay Setsas. Well, I don't think he's actually crossed the line in the lead for the entire race, maybe once. But it's going to be the last lap that he's going to cross the line in the lead as he rounds the final corner now. Sinjay Setsas, Core Sim Racing, he's going to extend his lead in the championship. He wins race 1 at Monza in a classic fight with 4 other drivers. Ross McFarlane wasn't even in that lead battle. He still finishes in 2nd place, though, from the 3rd row of the grid. Michael F. Docker rounds off a podium. He'll be pretty happy with that, despite moving up into 2nd. At one point, it's side by side just behind. Bund has a fantastic result, up 10 places into 10th. And Rushworth just behind. Blackhawk had an issue as we see more side by side. That's Gregory and Kraft coming to the line. It might even be 3 wide across the line. Gregory's going to get Kraft. He's not going to quite get Steve Burke just ahead, as also Kaiser makes up a couple of positions right on the line after falling back at that turn 1. He beats O'Connor and Hedgecock.
Just to complete what you were saying earlier on, it was actually 11th for Matt Bunn. He just got pipped to the line by Dave Baker, who also made up 9 places, so 9 gained each for them. 7 places gained for McFadden, 11 for Mickey Gray in... Yeah, it was like 27th. Steve Burke up to 19th. Some great drives in the middle of the field. Actually, Paul Smith made it up to 18th place after we saw him having a bit of issue actually in the middle of the race. So did a fantastic job there, Paul Smith. He'll also be streaming this, no doubt, as well. 20 places gained for Rusty Laidler, who started 51st. Tell you what, when your starting number is in the 50s, Sam, you don't expect great things, do you? Really, but put himself in a decent position.
Yeah, definitely. And whilst we saw a lot of crashes out there, I think there was only about 10 drivers maybe who took fast repairs, which isn't that much when you're considering it's a 55 car field, and we saw incidents right from the get-go. By the way, winner was Jason Dilworth up in 5th. Absolutely incredible. I think is he a new driver?
Yeah, I think he's brand new to the series, I believe. Yeah, no points on the list for him, I don't think.
So maybe that ranking isn't quite fair. He needs to slow down a little bit, otherwise he's going to get the promotion, and no one wants that. He wants to win the championship, so that's a bit of a recommendation to Jason. Also, top the second place driver was Mike Gray in 16th overall, and third was Paul Smith. That was how well Paul did after coming to a complete standstill at one point, and of course Steve Burke up 25 places in 4th in that category. So,
well, the results are on the screen. I just want to say as well, do not leave us here on the iRacing Esports Network, because 2 more races to go. We're going to spin the wheel for the reverse grid for those in just a couple of minutes' time. So please stick around if you enjoyed that, and I'm sure you did. How could you not? Then there'll be more to come just like that after the breaks. But first of all, the rundown of race 1. Sindre Setsas takes the win over Ross McFarlane. And Michael Evdoka in 3rd, Kyle Jansen 4th, Jason Dilworth in 5th, Jesse Stevens, he was leading with a couple of laps to go, finished 6th, Andy Shield in 7th, Daniel McCauley in 8th. In fact, we had, what's that? That's 7 CQR cars in a row. Shield, McCauley, Thompson, Baker, Bunt, and Rushworth, and Blackhall as well. In fact, that's 8 with Stuart McFadden in 14th, Chris Daines in 15th, Michael Gray in 16th, Ben Hackerson 17th, Paul Smith in 18th place, and then Stephen Burke for Beast Racing in 19th, Ben Gregory in 20th, Dan Kraft in 21st place, Jeroen Kaiser 22nd, Lane O'Connor in 23rd, Adam Hedgecock 24th, Sam Underhill 25th, Luke Clark in 26th, Mark Woodhouse 27th, and Miguel Freitas in 28th, Jason Rowe in P29, Lee Deemer 30th, Rusty Laidler 31st, Chris Wood 32nd, 33rd was Robert Lundgren, 34th Richard Warmingham, then David White in 35th, Morgan Butler in 36th place, and then Stuart Atkinson 37th, 38th for John Roberts, Steve Lavalley in 39th, 40th Scott Malcolm, 41st Michael Hall, Dave Jansen in 42nd, Ronald Moons in 43rd, Dan Russo in 44th, 45th was Jamie Ayres, and then the lapped cars 1 lap down and still scoring points, I guess. Lee Woodburn. I need that screen back. I need that one back. Thank you. Lee Woodburn, Max Spooner, Ash Sutton, Lars Van Rijn, Michael Blake, Christian Rose, and then the retirements. There weren't many actually. Only Anthony Jacobson, Josh Rayfield, and Dion Phillips were out. Ben Palmer, I don't think he took the start.
Yeah, Rayfield and Phillips must have been involved in a couple of incidents, because these drivers do get a fast repair, of course, 1 fast repair per race. And, well, of course, as Woody was saying earlier on, come back for race 2 and 3. Race 1, it tends to be the dull one, or the dull one. So, well, brace yourself for race 2 and race 3. It could be something quite spectacular. Of course, we need the reverse wheel first, because we are going to have a reverse grid of between 10 and 22 positions, and Sam, I think we have it up on the screen.
Yes, the wheel is on your screen right now, and we will be spinning it. But I don't think the drivers will be looking for any more excitement. But unfortunately, we will be giving it to them. So it is 16.
16, so that means Mike Gray, who was second out of the AM drivers, will be starting on pole position overall for race 2 of the evening. Chris Daines alongside him. Stuart McFadden could be a dark horse in 3rd. Also Jamie Rushworth up there, Jake Blackhall, and Josh Thompson will be starting about 8th position, I believe. So he could be a dark horse. It's impossible to call. It's going to be a fantastic race 2 of the evening on the iRacing Esports Network in the World GT. Do not miss it. We'll be back in about 25 minutes time.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Coming for a splash. Three, two, one, now. All clear, punch it. Great job, you did really well.
Hi there, I'm Richard Jobling, Senior Software Engineer here at iRacing. I'd like to show you some of the work that we've been doing to improve the collision and the damage in our sim. One of the major changes we've made is how our collision systems work. The old system stored the track as parametric surfaces, and the cars were made of collections of spheres. As the cars moved around the track, we would recompute planes using the track surfaces and then test those against the spheres. This worked well for spheres but was too specialised to adapt to our shapes. So for the new system, we've built new high-resolution meshes for each track. This is more efficient and gives us a lot more flexibility for the car shapes. The new mesh incorporates all the track features our guys worked so hard to replicate. Things like curb geometry and changes in the surface material are all baked into the mesh. We've also taken our laser scan data and applied that to the mesh. And since the mesh is so high resolution, we capture all the detail that's necessary so that the tracks are just like the real thing. With our new mesh, we can now represent cars using smooth, convex hulls, which grouped together form the chassis, the bodywork, and all the other parts of the car. The new shapes are a much closer fit to the shape of the real car. During impacts, the shapes can deform according to the damage, and eventually they can break off as separate objects. All the parts, like wings, hoods, and wheels, can also hang from their joints, flapping and vibrating until they eventually snap off. All these changes are going to add a whole new level of realism to our races. If you want to find out more, please visit iRacing.com and check out my blog post for lots more details.
Hi, my name is Greg Hill. I'm the Vice President of Art and Production here at iRacing. This damage project that we've been discussing is certainly a project that involved all hands on deck to pull off. We've got a rather sizable number of cars in our portfolio, and not all of these cars have been built with this dynamic damage system in mind. So what we had to do is one by one go through our race cars, and we had a team of 3 artists, a highly technical modeler, our technical art director, and our associate art director. All took on each car one at a time, and the work involved was researching that car, researching what would happen to that car if it were in a crash, depending on the forces involved in the crash, how severely it would be damaged, what parts might come off, what those pieces might look like when they're removed, what it would look like where the car is has areas exposed that were previously covered by bodywork. So they had to do a lot of modeling to each race car, and they had to do a lot of work to essentially set up how the car would react to forces. So essentially setting the strength of the materials. What kind of force would it take to rip off this side pod, for example? Or under what circumstances would this nose cone get ripped off of a car? Or under which would it remain, but just be badly damaged? But all said, it's been a lot of work, but seeing the car models interact with the physics system and the new crash dynamics is really exciting and really cool to see, and definitely makes all that hard work worth it.
Hi, my name is Jose Diaz. I'm a visual effects artist at iRacing. I specialize in particle effects ranging from fireworks to water fountains, debris, crash, impacts, all in the service of improving the driving experience. So you have the main sort of new damage model that Richard's been working on. So that takes into consideration all the mounts and the chassis from the cars and which materials they are. And he's making all the calculations that tell you, like, okay, it got hit from this one side and the strength of that impact is this certain amount of values. If you hit something, that means that this mount gets off, something breaks. This gets added on top of that to sort of complement what is happening there with things that you would see in real life when a car crashes. So typically in a car crash, you will see all these little particles of dust, metal, scratches that will take all that force and momentum and kind of explode in a way. And it's all being driven by how fast the car was coming, how hard the impact was against what. That will give you that sense of like, man, that person really crashed hard, or oh, it was just a small bump.
Hi, my name is Chris Lurch. I'm one of the vehicle dynamicists here at iRacing. Our role in the collision project is to tune the collision properties of each and every car to ensure that they behave in wrecks as a real car would. And we've spent quite a bit of time going through literature from the automotive industry on the subject to make sure that we have panels that deform the way they're supposed to, both temporarily and permanently, that pieces that don't deform but rather just break at appropriate times in appropriate ways. The cars are absorbing energy the way they should and aren't sort of bouncing off the walls in crazy ways. The major properties that we look at are stiffnesses, which is how much a piece of the car deforms when a load is applied to it. And then we look at a couple of limits. One is the force limit beyond which the piece deforms permanently. And then the second limit that we look at is the brake limit, the force limit beyond which the piece will simply break. And then we also will look at damping, which is how much the piece absorbs energy versus how much it takes like a spring and can absorb as potential energy and then rebound back out like a basketball would.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network and the World GT Championship, meeting 5 of this season, season 5 of this fantastic championship. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and back alongside me is Andrew Woodhouse with Sam Kumu once again on the cameras, and we just witnessed an incredible race 1. Multiple wrecks among the leaders, and also some fantastic race craft as well. We'll quickly go through the group because we haven't got a whole lot of time for this race 2, and it is Mike Gray on the pole position, the AM winner in race 1, so fully deserved that pole position for this one. Chris Daines is alongside him in second place. Then it's Stuart McFadden, Jake Blackhall, Jamie Rushworth, Matt Bunt, Dave Baker. Josh Thompson could be a very dark horse in 8th. Dan McCauley starts in 9th, and that's Andy Shield just behind that in 10th. The rest of the field will cycle through for you now. Also, Sinjay Setzer, of course, race 1 winner. He will be starting in 16th place. And what a race 1 that was, Woody. Absolutely incredible racing. It was impossible to call. I think this second race is going to be very different. We're not going to see necessarily the same 5 cars leading the way from start to finish like we saw in race 1. But it is going to be just as interesting seeing those drivers make their way through the field against such a quality opposition.
Also, look out for the likes of Christian Rose and Ashley Sutton starting in the back 10 of this 54-car grid. We could see a lot of moving and shaking going on in there. Michael Gray then, well, big task ahead of him, Sam, to marshal this field and try to get some kind of a gap. It's going to be tough, though. It's going to be super, super tough. But this is what we're going to find out in the 20 minutes that follow. And it's going to be super exciting. First race, we were saying, it's probably one of the best we've seen in quite some time. Now we're going to see if it can be replicated in race 2, Sam.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be half as good. That will give us an full-length show. Of course, race 3 to come up later on, but right now it is race 2, and it is Mike Gray and Chris Danes from the front row of the grid. XVR versus Northern Lights Racing. Mike Gray, when does he floor it?
He's going all the way to the green.
There's a little bit of carnage going on in the background, maybe a couple of contacts there, but Mike Gray is away cleanly. Maybe under pressure is Chris Danes from Stuart McLaren, already moving up into second position. Gray glitching out a little bit, but that shouldn't put off the drivers as we go into turn 1. We saw big issues down the pit straight in race 1. Are we going to see issues into the first chicane? It's all very clean at the moment, barely any contact.
Oh, there's stationary in the back.
Just the
oh, hello.
Oh, and now there's a car on its roof, seemingly. Certainly on its side, I think I saw, and a couple of drivers off. Not too much damage. Not sure if anyone's going to have to take a fast repair.
I think whoever it was managed to two-wheel it through the across the track and get back on all 4 wheels and through the gravel again. But I think that was, as much as it was difficult for the rest of the field, Sam, it was very smart by Mike Gray to wait as late as he can, giving the opposition much less of the straight to attack him.
Well, it hasn't stopped him being attacked as now he's under pressure, and this is the opportunity now for Chris Danes.
He's left the door open.
Move, but Mike Gray just giving the inside line to Stuart McFadden. Maybe it's best for him just to back out because he is glitching out.
He's not backing out.
Oh, and now he's gone wide, and he's going to lose 2 positions due to that. Stuart McFadden takes the lead from 3rd on the grid. Chris Danes goes through into 2nd as he flashes aside. So we've got Jesse Stevens, who nearly won race 1. What a fall from grace this is, because he's potentially out of race 2. And St. Joe Stetzos, who did win race 1, and he is out of the race, or at least going to have to take a fast repair. A crucial moment for the championship leader.
And that is a mess. Coursing racing car, not going to be going much further, you wouldn't imagine, but well, we've seen worse here on the channel in the past as McFadden leads the way over the line, but this is a battle between Dilworth and Thompson and Baker and Shield and McCauley.
Oh, and down the inside there is that Dilworth, absolutely from no. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or not. Well, he's going to lose a position from it, seemingly. Getting teamed up a little bit by the CQI drivers. Matt Bunn trying to drop it from this. Dilworth up in 7th position. Apparently he's not an AM driver. So apologies for saying that he won the AM.
Oh, there's some crashing going on a bit further down, I think, but we'll might get to that in a moment. Oh, that's Dion Phillips. Oh, and there's a car round. I think it might be Ronald Moons. Oh, and he's... I thought he was high-centred on the sleeping policeman there as he gets going again. How did he end up like that? I'm not sure exactly, but Wycliffe Docker and Carl Janssen fighting hard.
This could be the day that Janssen brings himself back into championship contention, because Rose, of course, didn't finish race 1. It looks like Sinjay Setsas is going to finish way down in race 2. He's going to make up a nice haul of points, and of course will be included in the reverse grid for race 3 as long as he keeps it clean. Ross McFarlane, 2nd position in race 1. Also, Simon Underhill's up 15 positions apparently, up in 10th position according to my screen. I think that's slightly incorrect, but it's still been a very positive start for him as Chris Danes comes under big pressure.
Yeah, speaking of positive starts, Chris Danes has had a tremendous start with the 3rd.
Here comes Thompson though. Don't think there's going to be too much resistance this time from Danes. Don't think there's any too much team interest here as Thompson goes down the inside. And, well, that will be quite simple for him on the Porsche. And Thompson, well, after the disappointment of race 1, it looks like he's going to take a crucial points haul today. And he's up into the top 3, 1.4 seconds to catch up to Jake Blackhall now.
Yeah, let's see if Danes can stick with Thompson. Blackhall is currently sat. Yeah, he just set the fastest lap of the race with a 44.5. Yeah, closing in quite rapidly actually now on the young Scot, Stuart McFadden.
Yeah, of course, these two are teammates. In fact, the top 3 are teammates. But when you've got about 10 CQI drivers out there, there's no doubt that there's not too much, you know, kind of team play out there. They all want to support one another. But Blackhall and McFadden, if they've got any sense about them, unlike in race 1 where we saw the top 4 all fighting amongst each other into every single corner, I think these two will try to reduce the overtaking as little as possible. Of course, that drops you time and invites other drivers into the fight. And well, right now it's looking as though it could well be a CQR 1, 2, 3 when they're currently occupying those positions at the moment. And they've got very good pace as well. McFadden going to be under pressure from Blackhall. Blackhall goes onto the rear wing. Will he look to the inside? No. He decides to go to the outside. We saw plenty of moves around the outside of the first part into this first chicane, and the inside for the next parts. As we, if anything, see Thompson falling back into Danes.
But like you said, though, this is dangerous behaviour, these two, because, again, they might bring that other little pack into play. Whereas if they do work together, they might be able to just stretch this lead out slightly. Although McFadden doesn't quite have the pace of, say, Josh Thompson at the moment. Dan McCauley sets the fastest lap, 144.43. He's currently sat in 7th place. You see him in the background, actually coming under pressure. It looks like from Jason Dilworth.
McCauley just set the fastest lap of the race. Bright purple on our timing screen. And
as I just pointed out.
Oh, sorry, I did not hear that. Apologies. But it's not helped him.
I'm used to being tuned out. It's all right. It's all right. I don't blame you, to be honest. But it's McCauley and Dilworth, and then just behind is Carl Janssen in P9, and then 10th is Michael Evdoka. So there's some pace in this little group as well. Sam, I tell you, it's great.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, Janssen possibly the fastest amongst these drivers. And well, he's only 5.5 seconds off the race lead at the moment. It's so difficult to call, once again, anyone out of this top.
Oh, change the lead.
11, 12 could win this race. As Blackhall takes the lead, and now he's round.
Another one now.
And, oh, he's just about avoided everyone else. Please don't reverse Jake. There's not a space all the way down the field. He's going to fall right to the back of the pack. But it's better than getting
there is a gap
involved in
now.
a crash and to fair. Oh, no, and he's made contact. And he just, that was...
Gregory.
Yeah, Gregory off. He just went the wrong way there, did Gregory. And, well, I'm sure there could well be a penalty for that move across the circuit.
I'll tell you what, I've done that on an oval a few times before when I've gone right instead of left, and that's been a problem. Somebody cut the first chicane as well.
I saw somebody go.
Was it? Yeah, I saw him go through the runoff area. It went down as him crashing on our timing screen, but it wasn't a crash. It was just a misdemeanor, shall we say? And he's had to give up the time gained, as they say. He's lost to a place to Dilworth, and he's lost out to Janssen as well, former champion.
And now Evdoka as well, down the inside at the first Lesmo. Simple for Evdoka, so that's really bad there for McCauley. Like me and Woody said earlier on, because he did set the fast lap of the race. And
he was so fast, in fact, he was cutting corners. That must have been it.
Yeah, doing the old
just missing chicanes out.
As Thompson goes down the inside, and he's now into the race lead. Of course, that didn't pay for too much in race 1, but he'll be hoping that he'll be able to stick with this one to the end of the race. If Danes can get this one done really quick, they might be able to stay on the back of Thompson, because he seems to have been pretty much a match for the CQI drivers so far. But of course, if second and third start fighting, this will be gifting the race to Josh Thompson. As McFadden, if anything, just holding up Danes at the minute, 0.6 of a second. I wonder if he's trying to help out his team. Of course, McFadden, this is just a one-off race, I believe, for him. So he's got no championship points. He'll just be potentially helping out his teammate.
I think, is it just a one-off, is it? Okay.
Oh, actually,
There you go. I thought it was until the end of the season. We'll have to check. We'll check.
I have seen every single race, and of
Oh.
course, and down around the outside goes Danes. These two are losing to each other so much time, and getting Baker and Shield involved as well. Well, Danes has got a hard job here because out of the top 5, he is the only non-CQR driver, and so he could well get a little bit picked on at the moment. He's dropped down into 3rd position once again. Goes around the inside maybe of McFadden.
Oh,
McFadden blocks it off, and is there going to be contact?
Probably.
Not quite. That was impressive there from Danes.
He was. I thought he was going to see a bit of the red mist then for a second and maybe bite off a little bit more than he could chew, but he kept it going pretty nicely. You can tell it's been a good meeting when we've barely mentioned Dave Baker at all. It's only the second time we've actually mentioned him at all. He's up in 4th position. Started in 7th place, I believe. Closing in on Chris Danes. Of course, Baker and co were very, very good in the Ferrari when this series ran GT3 cars. Now transitioning to Porsche.
Janssen and Dilworth and Abdotka and maybe even McCauley are making time up on these guys. So this is going to be a 7-way battle for 2nd position, I believe.
Danes has got a great run out of Parabolica. This could definitely be fruitful for him. Right underneath the rear wing of the Ferrari. Where's McFadden going to go? He's placed his car in the middle of the track. Doesn't look like Danes is gaining very much. In fact, is he potentially lifting? I don't know. There's a Ford trying to go through on a Porsche in the background. That is Janssen going through on Dilworth. And up into 6th place for the Swedish driver.
Yeah, and he was a second faster than the drivers ahead, so that's important for Janssen. Like I said earlier on, an opportunity for him to make up a lots of points in this race, or across this meeting at least.
Oh, these two darting about, Janssen and Dilworth. Different lines there. Janssen doesn't really care much for track limits. We've seen that in the past, but he, you know, it's kind of a reluctant obedience for him, I think, in terms of that. But as they, well, there you go. I think everybody's doing that, to be fair, though.
No instant limit, of course, in the World GT or World FD Championships, which I think is quite good, apart from maybe where you go to Kota and you can, of course, double the length of the circuit and still go twice as fast. Maybe arguably would be needed, but around this circuit, there's not really anywhere where you can make an advantage. And
you can't gain a great deal, can you? I mean,
if you're going off the circuit, then you're probably going to crash eventually. So that's the payoff.
This is what I say every time we come here, that, you know, you take enough liberties with the track and it will bite you back eventually. You just got to find that limit. As Ash Sutton. Oh, hello.
That's right.
It's Jason Rowe. Oh no! Oof. Oh jeez, yikes! That was a brown trouser moment, was that, for whoever was coming through? I'm not sure who it was. By the way, how much speed did Ash Sutton carry into Ascari there? That was scary.
Yeah, and you use the outside curve as well on the entry to the corner. Despite coming across his opponent, he's just got absolutely his eyes on every apex. And
terrible wing damage though. He's suffering down the straights.
He'll be good on the brakes as we almost go 3 wide here. Need to make sure that they don't pile drive into one another, and actually going wide there is it was Roberts losing out much too much space, and now he's going to lose out to Jamie Ayres, I think, as well. Nomad Sim Racing blue car.
Biggest mover so far in the field is Christian Rose. Started in 51st place, he's up to 21st, and you see him on your screen now, car number 93, chasing down who is that in front of him? That's Jeroen Kaiser, I believe.
Kaiser's been in the middle of everything, seemingly, but he's looking like he's going to get a couple of good results out of all of it. Had a massive crash at Suzuka last time out down the pit straight, but keeping his car
David White.
A bit cleaner this time.
Something's happened to David White. Says he's out of the race. disconnection for him. We're hearing, so yeah. It's not good for David White. Here comes Chris Danes in his seemingly never-ending battle with Stuart McFadden.
Oh, he's going to have the inside.
Oh, he's left the
bit.
door open, McFadden.
A little bit clumsy there from McFadden. Thought that his opponent was just going to go to the outside as normal, but McFadden is so brave on the brakes. He should ease his way around the outside.
Oh!
Big contact between the two of them, though, and that could be quite serious steering damage potentially if they've gone into each other at the wrong angle. But it seems as though McFadden has made the move regardless, and Danes is going to have to try it all over again. But these two taking chunks out of one another, and it's going to leave them vulnerable down the straights to the gyros behind. And of course, Carl Janssen, Jason Dilworth, and Michael Docker joining this party now.
I think we can call that robust defending, can we? I think that was
I think
it was
so.
on the strong arm side.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's it. Oh, I'm just seeing it again on the replay. And yeah, it was harsh but fair, wasn't it? I think. Just looking behind them actually at the flying Andy Shield, car 007. He'll be hoping he doesn't bond with the rear end of the Porsche. And so up the inside he comes into Ascari. Dave Baker, you're going to get up pretty early in the morning to overtake him into Ascari like that.
Oh, he's a sitting duck now to Janssen just behind.
Baker's got a good run on Danes as well. But yeah, here is Carl Janssen. Going to go the long way around in Curva de Parabolica. And Brad Jessen in the comments says that it's a shame damage is so amplified on iRacing. Rubbing should be racing. I think it has to be fairly strong though, Sam, because otherwise I think people would just take liberties with it, and so there has to be punishment for contact, I think.
Yes, definitely. The gentlemanliness of these gyros does go.
I know what he's saying.
And yeah, definitely. And of course,
around the outside.
Now,
over the curb. Oh, great.
That's a very nice move from Carl Janssen. That's how you get the move done cleanly. And of course, that type of move should be rewarded because there was no contact there. And well, it was very impressive from Carl Janssen. But of course, iRacing tried to make it as realistic as possible. Fortunately, the damage model apparently not coming out for a few more months, probably about 6 months away. Although I'm sure that we might be saying that for a few years.
The only thing I don't like is when you get that little bit of slightly bent rear wing and you get really down on speed. That's the only thing I don't like really about it. McFarlane and Macaulay resuming combat, shall we say? Look at the damage on that right rear corner of the Ferrari. And crumpled, tattered and torn, battered and bruised. Still carrying on though, and still in a good position, the Scotsman.
Yeah, and still setting the fastest first sector of the race so far. Was 2/10 faster in that first sector. So, well, to quote Rob Smedley, I think they've found the solution and made a little bit of time back with that damage.
Danes
side
round the
by
outside.
side. Danes, he's tried every single way round every single corner, but this might just be the key that he needs. He is alongside now Stuart McFadden. This will be interesting to see who is faster down the straight. And if anything, so McFadden's got the slight advantage,
yeah.
but Danes is keeping his nose in there.
Oh,
now
back.
goes to the inside. This could be a fantastic move from Chris Danes, but no, he backed out of it, perhaps wisely. And well,
very
he's
lit
gonna
on the
try another time.
Very lit on the brakes for McFadden. The Ferrari has really good top end speed as Jason Dilworth gets very sideways coming out the Rettifilio, and it allows Evdoka to get side by side with him through Curva Grande, and he's already made the move. Is Dilworth going to fight back into Curva della Roggia? Evdoka, what's he going to do? He covers the inside, and he's late enough on the brakes that he remains in 7th position as we've just got under 2 minutes to go here at Autodromo Nazionale Monza.
Yeah, of course, Evdoka, the 5th split GTE win in the Daytona 24 Hours a couple of months back, or 1 month back, as we go side by side almost again with Laidler pulling ahead. And what a good job Laidler has done. According to my screen, 17 positions gained. I think that's correct.
Brilliant
in
job.
14th place, so really impressive. And might haul up 28, that's not bad either.
brilliant job. I'm not quite sure where he's got the Russian flag from, Rusty Laidler, but yeah, there we go. We digress on that one. Matt Bunn is right behind him. He's going to make the move here, is he, Matt Bunn? 15th place for him. Actually started in 6th. Still a solid race, though. Solid finishing position it's going to be for him. You start the final lap of the race. Josh Thompson comes across. And one thing, I have been looking at his lap times, Sam, and he's been very consistently still in the 144s pretty much every time. It's just that, you know, that metronomic pace out front, which is really pounding the rest of the grid into submission, really.
Yeah, I don't think he'll need to be puting that Russian flag on either. Thank you very much. Josh Thompson still leading the way. Honestly, oh, wow. Yeah, McFadden 5.5 seconds behind now. So, yeah, he's under massive pressure still. Just looking at the screen, it's orange all the way down to about 10th position as he goes super defensive. Does Chris Daines trying to defend from Dave Baker.
He's desperate for that final spot on the podium.
Oh, Janssen just getting on the grass, and that may have just prevented him from having a good run going into a sky, but he's still got a decent exit. These drivers have got damage. Janssen probably with the cleanest car, so that's going to help him down the straights, but maybe that Ford at the end of the straights, the weakest out of these cars. But I'm sure he's going to nail this Ascari chicane. He's going to have to if he's going to finish on the podium.
We'll just quickly say that, yeah, the reverse grid was actually quite a small one this time round. It was only 16th, but here comes Josh Thompson. He's into Parabolica, and he has driven a brilliant race. He got all his overtaking done early, Sam. It's proven to bear fruit for him.
Yeah, he's going to take another race victory this season. I think that's his 4th race victory of the season, and well, he's going to be very close to the summit of the championship now with issues for his rivals. Stuart McLaren finishes in 2nd position. Chris Daines a deserved 3rd. Fantastic batting, was unlucky not to get 2nd place, but that's a really good podium for him. Dave Baker just behind in 4th. Carl Janssen could only finish in 5th. Rusty Laidler gonna have to defend right to the line.
Oh!
And now Matt Bunn's going to go alongside him. Bunn.
Oh,
Well, he gets tipped back the right way. Now they're going to be side by side, right to the line. It's 0.5 of a second, but it's going to be Rusty Laidler just about, and he was certainly rushing to the line there. And it worked out for him.
It's very good. It's very good. Oh, and I think Sutton might have just got mugged on the line there by Jamie Ayres for 21st place. He had a lot of damage, did Sutton. Now, Jason Rowe, we saw him facing the wrong way around earlier on. Miguel Freitas for company. Freitas weaving about. He's not going to help him really. 33rd place finish for him.
Yeah, just got a few more drivers to cross the line, I believe. And, well, that's a pretty cool shot, isn't it? Of the drivers go 3 wide. They were going 3 wide at that corner in race 1 at 200 miles an hour. A little bit slower now. Of course, it doesn't matter too much for these drivers, but another fantastic race this time. A little bit more comfortable out in the lead for Josh Thompson.
He's very happy with it, though. You can tell,
yes.
and because he deserved it. The overtakes he pulled off were just fantastic, and that's the thing. You have to get a bit of luck at Monza really as well, because you have to try and get that gap, don't you? And he did get the gap. He was fortunate with the other circumstances with the drivers battling behind him. But to be honest, Sammy was well quick enough in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, he's had a bit of turbulence so far this season, consistently proven himself over 1 lap to be probably the fastest driver out there, but maybe in these races has had a couple of issues. But that's a very big result for the CQR driver. We cannot go through. Sorry.
Oh. Sorry, no, I was just going to point out a few of the drivers who'd gained a lot of places on the thing as well. I'm looking on this timing screen, and Christian Rose, he was the biggest mover in the end. 34 places gained, but there are also a lot of gains for Jamie Ayres, Michael Hall, Lars van Rijn, Josh Rayfield, gained 29 places. Michael Blake up to 31. Yeah, some really good performances out there. And sorry, Sam, you were saying?
Yeah, I was just going to go through the final results, and also just a note, just a worthy mention of Simon Underhill, who was the top AM driver there in 11th overall. Rusty Lader was second, gaining 17 positions, and yeah, Johan Kaiser was in third in the AM championship. Also, of course, the reverse wheel to come up, we had 16 in the first race, Rose 17. So if we get the same reverse grid, well, he'll be angry is the outcome of that. But first off, the results. Josh Thompson, 8th position on the grid. Did say a very dark horse at the start of this race. He was in certainly, as he wins race 2 of the evening, 6 seconds ahead of Stuart McFadden in the end. Chris Daines was in 3rd. There's David Baker, Carl Janssen in 5th. There was Andy Shield, Michael Abdoka, Jason Dorworth, and Ross McFarlane. Those guys had a fantastic battle. Then it was Dan McCauley, called Simon Underhill, the top AM driver. And then behind that was Ben Haggerson, Michael Hall, Rusty Laidler, Matt Bunn, Steve Labelli, Christian Rose up a massive amount of positions, 34 positions, as Woody was saying. Johan Kaiser was 18th. There was Michael Blake and Steve Burke. Behind that was Jamie Ayres, Ash Sutton, John Roberts, Josh Rayfield, Robert Lundgren, Morgan Butler, Lars Van Rijn, Lee Woodburn, Dan Kraft, Scott Malcolm, a pretty good 30th there. Sindre Setsas, of course, had that crash. He finishes in 31st, so first real setback of the season for him. Jason Rowe was in 32nd. There's Miguel Freitas in 33rd. There's Jake Blackhall, Jamie Rushworth, Adam Hedgecock, Luke Clark, Mark Woodhouse, Ben Gregory, Anthony Jacobson, Stuart Atkinson, Jesse Stevens, and then the drivers 1 lap down, Deemer, Smith, Wood, Moons, Rusu. 2 laps down was O'Connor, and then the retirees were White, Warmingham, Gray, Spooner, Phillips, and Janssen. So, of course, as we were saying before, could be anything between about 12 and 22 reverse grid. And Sam, it is the moment of truth.
Yeah, moment of truth indeed. Let's spin it and see what we get. I think regardless of what we get, it's gonna be another action-packed race. And it will be 20.
20 drives. That means Steve Burke will be on the pole position. Frustratingly for Ash Sutton, gained 26 positions. Boy, he would have hoped it was 28. Because he would have had another chance at starting on the front row of the grid. But yeah, instead he'll be starting in 27. Also, Jamie Ayres gained 24 positions in that race. He would have been hoping it was 25. But yeah, Steve Burke on the pole position alongside Michael Blake. On the second row of the grid will be Kaiser and Rose. What an opportunity that is for Rose to really recover some crucial points. We'll be back for race 3 of the evening in about 20 minutes time. See you then.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Coming for a splash. Three, two, one, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
Hi there, I'm Richard Jobling, Senior Software Engineer here at iRacing. I'd like to show you some of the work that we've been doing to improve the collision and the damage in our sim. One of the major changes we've made is how our collision systems work. The old system stored the track as parametric surfaces, and the cars were made of collections of spheres. As the cars moved around the track, we would recompute planes using the track surfaces and then test those against the spheres. This worked well for spheres but was too specialised to adapt to our shapes. So for the new system, we've built new high-resolution meshes for each track. This is more efficient and gives us a lot more flexibility for the car shapes. The new mesh incorporates all the track features our guys work so hard to replicate. Things like curb geometry and changes in the surface material are all baked into the mesh. We've also taken our laser scan data and applied that to the mesh. And since the mesh is so high resolution, we capture all the detail that's necessary so that the tracks are just like the real thing. With our new mesh, we can now represent cars using smooth, convex hulls, which grouped together form the chassis, the bodywork, and all the other parts of the car. The new shapes are a much closer fit to the shape of the real car. During impacts, the shapes can deform according to the damage, and eventually they can break off as separate objects. All the parts, like wings, hoods, and wheels, can also hang from their joints, flapping and vibrating until they eventually snap off. All these changes are going to add a whole new level of realism to our races. If you want to find out more, please visit iracing.com and check out my blog post for lots more details.
Hi, my name is Greg Hill. I'm the Vice President of Art and Production here at iRacing. This damage project that we've been discussing is certainly a project that involved all hands on deck to pull off. We've got a rather sizable number of cars in our portfolio, and not all of these cars have been built with this dynamic damage system in mind. So what we had to do is one by one go through our race cars, and we had a team of 3 artists, a highly technical modeler, our technical art director, and our associate art director. All took on each car one at a time, and the work involved was researching that car, researching what would happen to that car if it were in a crash, depending on the forces involved in the crash, how severely it would be damaged, what parts might come off, what those pieces might look like when they're removed, what it would look like where the car has areas exposed that were previously covered by bodywork. So they had to do a lot of modeling to each race car, and they had to do a lot of work to essentially set up how the car would react to forces. So essentially setting the strength of the materials. What kind of force would it take to rip off this side pod, for example? Or under what circumstances would this nose cone get ripped off of a car? Or under which would it remain, but just be badly damaged? But all said, it's been a lot of work, but seeing the car models interact with the physics system and the new crash dynamics is really exciting and really cool to see, and definitely makes all that hard work worth it.
Hi, my name is Jose Diaz. I'm a visual effects artist at iRacing. I specialize in particle effects ranging from fireworks to water fountains, debris, crash, impacts, all in the service of improving the driving experience. So you have the main sort of new damage model that Richard's been working on. So that takes into consideration all the mounts and the chassis from the cars and which materials they are. And he's making all the calculations that tell you, like, okay, it got hit from this one side and the strength of that impact is this certain amount of values. If you hit something, that means that this mount gets off, something breaks. This gets added on top of that to sort of complement what is happening there with things that you would see in real life when a car crashes. So typically in a car crash, you will see all these little particles of dust, metal, scratches that will take all that force and momentum and kind of explode in a way. And it's all being driven by how fast the car was coming, how hard the impact was against what. That will give you that sense of like, man, that person really crashed hard, or oh, it was just a small bump.
Hi, my name is Chris Lurch. I'm one of the vehicle dynamicists here at iRacing. Our role in the collision project is to tune the collision properties of each and every car to ensure that they behave and wrecks as a real car would. And we've spent quite a bit of time going through literature from the automotive industry on the subject to make sure that we have panels that deform the way they're supposed to, both temporarily and permanently, that pieces that don't deform but rather just break at appropriate times in appropriate ways. The cars are absorbing energy the way they should and aren't sort of bouncing off the walls in crazy ways. The major properties that we look at are stiffnesses, which
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network and the World GT Championship, meeting 5 of Season 5 of this superb championship. Once again, Apex Racing TV bringing you the coverage for this one. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and back alongside me is Andrew Woodhouse and Sam Kumo on the cameras. And the first 2 races so far today, Woody, have been absolutely enthralling, each for their own reasons, I'd say. And I think this race too, whilst I think there is certainly a designated favourite for this race. I think it's Sinjay Christian Raystein from 4th place. He's going to be looking very strong, but you just cannot count on anything in this series.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it so far tonight. Hello again, everybody. Yeah, it's been great. I think it's just about anything that a race fan could want, and now poor old Stephen Burke is the man who's got to try and stay ahead of the rampaging pack.
Yeah, he's going to have a tough job on his hands as we go through the grid now for race 3 of the evening. Steve Burke on pole position alongside Michael Blake. Johan Kaiser starts in 3rd. Christian Rose in 4th. Steve Lavelli in 5th. Matt Bunn in 6th. Rusty Lader will be hoping that he isn't stalling on the grid. Michael Hall in 8th position. Ben Haggerson starts in 9th with Simon Underhill in 10th. Dan McCauley 11th. Ross McFarlane in 12th. Then behind that is Jason Dilworth, Michael Adoka, Andy Shield, Carl Jansen, Dave Baker, Chris Danes, Stuart McFadden and Josh Thompson. Of course, the race 2 winner starting down in 20th position after we got that rather sizable reverse grid. And then behind that is Ayres, Sutton, Roberts, Rayfield, Lundgren, Butler, Van Ryn, Woodburn, Kraft and Malcolm rounding out the top 30. The other drivers will cycle through for you now. And Steve Burke pulls away behind the safety car. So far, we've seen the pole suit to actually get away relatively cleanly, I'd say. I think these drivers, have certainly learned how to do these restarts effectively, and we've seen relatively few incidents, dare I say, going into this one.
Quite liked the way that Mike Gray dealt with it actually in the previous race. He waited as long as possible in order to go. Prevented him from being attacked so much. Did cause a little bit of chaos behind by some drivers. Some drivers, Sam, are always going to think that they can get the jump on everybody and really, hammer it a bit too early and end up causing problems. But hopefully for Steve Burke from Team Blizzard Motorsports, he's going to, it's not going to be a problem for him. I'll try and get my words out. I'm just really excited for the race. I can barely talk. It's going to happen. If it's, like you said, if it's anything like as good as race 1 was, or even as good as race 2 was, we'll be very happy indeed.
For the Lizard Racing driver, if the previous race is on a scale of 1 to 10, it's been a 5. Hopefully this will be a 10 for him.
You beat me to the scale pun.
It was the only one I've got. Anyway, Steve Burke floors it away we go for race of the evening, and it's not a fantastic start because already Kaiser is right on his toes. He's going to have the slipstream here. Blake also getting into the slipstream. He's going to be in the mix going into turn 1 as we see a bit of bump drafting there. Kaiser is going to go to the inside. Blake is going to go even more to the inside. This could be a big incident, but Blake just backs out of it and doesn't go into the back of his rival. A bit of a Tarkov driver going a bit deep into turn 1, I think.
I think it was Bun, possible. Oh, pile up.
Hackerson's round.
Track is blocked. Somewhat. Oh.
Oh, Woodburn, I think, also getting involved in a bit of a collision.
Oh, there's 4 or 5 cars round at the back. We've had a couple of pretty clean starts, Sam. That doesn't count as one of them.
No, that was a lot of kind of slow speed, clumsy contact there.
Burt continues to lead, however. So it's worked out well for somebody. The Valley and getting taken by Hall. That's P6 for Michael Hall now.
Yeah, up 2 positions. So not too many. Well, Michael Avdok has gone up 6 positions. So he's got a fantastic start from 14th on the grid. Not much of an impression made by Christian Rose. I did really back him for the race win for this race 3, but he's only gone up 1 position up into 3rd so far, not putting too much pressure on the top 2. Avdok trying to line up this one. They're ever so close. These drivers are just ahead of him as we go 3 wide, and there's going to be no way through.
Oh, no, that's
he tries to make a way through, and that wasn't wise from Evdoka whatsoever. And we've got a big crash, and now it's the XPR drive going to go across the circuit as well. I think they're just about going to scatter through a couple of drivers on their roofs, and Evdoka trying to make it 4 wide.
I think that was craziness. I'll have to see it again. I think we should see it again. It looked to me like that was never ever going to work in a million years.
Oh, he got more contact now.
Oh,
boosted driver.
This is what happens in the second reverse grid race of the day. Sometimes, though, sometimes does happen. I want to see that. Have we got that incident again? So we can see what's gone on from the back. Ah, yeah, it's not great, is it? Who was that who got absolutely sent into orbit? Got a feeling it was is it McFarlane?
I'm really not sure, to be honest. Just looking at the drivers who are way down the order. Yeah, could have been Blackhall. All actually, maybe.
Oh, and then one of the CQR Tarkov cars, Blackhall, just got turned around at Ascari as well. Dear me, carnage on the back straight.
Well, Doc is still up in 6th position, I think, and not too far behind the race leaders. Rose trying to make these important moves. This is big for Christian Rose. He's dropped down in the championship standings a little bit, down into 3rd. A little bit of drift of the top 2, but this is not a good opportunity for him to make up some big points as he goes for 2nd position here, trying to get the move on Kaiser, but just not the confidence going into Parabolican. You can see 4th and 5th and 6th closing in a bit whilst they're not battling amongst each other. Michael Blake falling down the order, a little bit unusual to see.
We're saying on the chat that I believe Michael Evdoka didn't actually know there was a car on the left-hand side all the way over to the left, so, and it looked like everybody was sort of trying to converge in the middle of the track, so I don't know, it's a tough one to really, you know, we'll leave that one for the stewards basically. Oh, look, big lock-up by Matt Bunn. He's missed the corner, but he's done, I think, what Sindri Setsas probably should have done in the first round of the evening and cut across and not caused any chaos.
Yeah, and didn't pick up any damage either. Didn't go super fast over the sausage curbs, so got away with that one. Evdoka just ahead of Janssen, so Janssen's on the charge again. Evdoka down the inside. This could be very awkward. No opportunity for Janssen to make the move at the moment, but he's right on the side. Now Janssen will go for the move. Evdoka moves across slightly, but he's boxed in currently. I think this is inevitable, like that the core sim racing go is going to get the move done. Janssen's looking like he's going to score more points than any other driver as it stands.
Contact there!
Into every corner, and now Underhill is round, the AM race winner of race 2, and well, he's into the wall now.
Yeah, it was a tough one actually. He just got tagged from behind, I think. Potentially, yeah. What went wrong for Docker there actually was the fact that he just nudged the car in front, stopped his momentum. That allowed Carl Janssen to squeeze through. And that is now Michael Blake on the outside, Janssen on the inside, and that's an easy move there for former champion. Carl Janssen goes through into fourth position.
Very close between the top two. Burke under big pressure from Rose. This is massive for Rose. Will Burke defend?
Nope.
Seemingly not. I think he realises that this is a done deal, and maybe a podium is probably the best option for him.
Sometimes not leading here is the best thing, though.
Yeah, maybe. I think either way, it was certainly the wise decision to let his rival go, and will now try to stay close in the slipstream.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to get you interrupted. These three are slightly ahead of everybody else, aren't they? Slightly away, I mean, in a little group, so doesn't want to waste too much time fighting Christian Rose to the bitter end, because he can now maybe use Christian Rose to cement that podium position. It's going to be tough, though, because Carl Janssen, he's flying at the minute. David Baker set the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap, 1:44.2, very quick time.
Yep, 7 positions so far. He's right on the tail of Chris Daines. He's up 9 positions himself.
Oh, that's Robert Lundgren off
Lundgren
in the boosted motorsport car.
And someone
Another car
else
taking to the runoff area, and that. Let's have a look. Lundgren with all kinds of rear wing damage. It looks like a stock car actually. Bang! Don't know who the Ferrari was. Who they copped one. Yeah, I really don't know who the Ferrari was, but that was really unfortunate. Getting it, got involved completely in a battle that wasn't their fault. It was Jason Rowe. Chaz is saying that Steve just needs to play it safe now and get some big points. Completely agree. Completely agree. Points mean prizes, of course. Up the inside for Jake Blackall and his recovery drive. He's having a look at Dilworth. In fact, he's already passed Dilworth. And they've got 2 damaged cars, of course, just in front of them in order to try and work their way through on them. Dave Baker and Rusty Laidler now into battle. Andy Shield as well, so.
Yeah, these two have been fighting amongst each other for a while, almost forming a bit of a union amongst one another. As, Laidler in 10th position. And, 3/10 of a second currently splitting Baker and himself. Of course, once again, CQR drivers populating this race. And, all fighting amongst each other. Probably not going to lose each other too much time you'd expect, but certainly don't count it out. I've got a bit of a gap behind them. You've got McFadden and then about 5 seconds back to Roberts, who's holding off Settas and Hackerson, which is looking like quite a tasty battle currently. Settas on that last lap was in the 43s. Compare that to Rose, who was in the high 44s. Shows how much pace that Ferrari has got, and quite remarkable how he hasn't been able to use it pretty much all day since that race 1 victory.
Yeah, just a quick one. My live timing died there for a second, so back with you, Sindre Settas, who he swashbuckled his way really to the win earlier on. It's a very tough fight out there. And taking on John Roberts, who's having a very impressive meeting himself, from a pace standpoint at least. Roberts, who was a former AM champion in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. Bit of a slide, I think, maybe by Roberts on entry as well, which didn't help him. But now he's got a really good chance to come back here, John Roberts.
Well, earlier on he didn't fight with these front runners too much, and I think there's no point in Roberts going for the move, but he's moving ahead.
Draft.
And he's just pulling ahead at the moment is Roberts, but no, breaks quite early, or it's that Settas breaking very late, maybe a combination. And
look at this!
To pull off that move as we go 2 by 2 into turn 1. Rushworth around the outside. Had a little bit of a quiet evening so far as Jamie, but he's alongside Simon Underhill. Of course, had that spin, I believe, earlier on. Freitas also and Ayres as well joining this battle. Freitas is going to get one. He might be able to get the 2 of them here as he looks to the inside. No, he's not going to go for it. Almost contact. I don't know how you haven't seen more kind of contact going into that chicane so far today, but fantastic driving from these guys.
Just a question on the chat saying why are there no Audis and Mercs? It's because it's a GTE class league, this one. So just the Ford, the Ferrari, and the Porsche. And we did get news, of course, yesterday that the BMW M8, is it? Sorry, it's coming, isn't it? M8, that's it. Otherwise known as the big thick boy, as they say. I'm looking forward to seeing that on the track, though. In fact, you'll only see that on the track. You won't be able to see anything else for it.
No, you only see one of them as well, because...
That's all that will fit on the entire map. Yeah. But here is not Jamie Rushworth, dear me, Josh Thompson. That's the one. Thompson going into race 2 winner into Parabolica.
I don't know what issue Thompson had earlier on, but of course, where he's at in 19th place, he's only gone up 1 position, so obviously has had an issue. Maybe on the first lap, he couldn't quite catch all the drivers who got caught up in that, but at the same time, very clean car from what I can see.
Well, Thompson, yeah? He started in 48th place, it looks like.
No, he started in 20th, I think.
Did he?
Yeah, Thompson, where is he?
Oh yeah, he will have started in 20. He might have started from the back though, because he would have been put in 20th, wouldn't he? But I wonder if he has come from the back. Who knows? Yeah, it looks all right. I wonder if he had to cut the chicane or something, maybe. Look at this, side by side, Matt Bunn, Chris Daines, Dave Baker just behind them. Someone who always seems to have a fairly clean car is Dave Baker. I'll probably jinx that one though.
Oh, he's gone.
Sorry, Dave. There you go, here comes Daines. I'm impressed by Chris Daines recently. Sam seems to have just found a bit of something in the last few months. Great run by Baker on Bunn. It's going to be tough for him though, because Bunn has the slipstream off of the Northern Lights racing car.
Yeah, he might just get boxed in though, down into the Parabolica, really deep on the brakes, nearly making contact. And credit to Matt Bunn, he's managed to pull ahead. It's really close between the top two in this race as well, because they are side by side. Christian Rose versus Carl Janssen. Rose was the race leader. I think Janssen is going to be the race leader now. They're fighting for, and Janssen's nearly dropped it on the entry to the corner, but as long as Rose can get a good exit here, he should be able to just stay in the slipstream to until he gets another opportunity.
He was sideways, he was out of control, he was in control again. I think Dave Baker might have gone off the circuit at the first corner. It looked like Rose was trying to come back on Janssen. Very close into the Rogia. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think Janssen stayed ahead. Shield and Daines again. Baker and Bunn again. Baker clobbers the curb and he goes through.
And McLaren almost losing up there.
The absolute unit that is Ross Balfour is in the chat. Hello, mate. So Matt Bunn and the rest of them just keep fighting hard. It's been one of the best race meetings I've seen in a long time tonight here at the World GT Championship. It's been really, really fun all the way through. These GTE cars are really, really good. And Steve Burke's been really, really good. He's putting in a hell of a performance for Team Lizard Motorsport. And he's taking on Jeroen Kaiser, who's won BSRTC races in the past.
Of course, Abdoka right on their tail. Of course, whether Abdoka will keep this result is another question after certainly being the catalyst for that crash earlier on, which took out a number of cars, but he's going to go for the move regardless. As he goes to the outside, are we going to see 3 wide potentially into this turn 1? But no, Burke backs out of it. Wow, just made a bit of contact, but didn't really affect Kaiser too much. These two are quite feisty drivers, I think, Jeroen and Michael, and they're going to be fighting for third position for the final step on the roster. They're only 4 seconds off the race lead still. I don't think they're going to be able to make an impact with it, but it shows how competitive these two have been.
Yeah, and you know, the Ferrari holding its own here against the Porsche.
Oh, Jansen's made a mistake.
Baker again. What's happened to Carl Jansen?
Yeah, he was
back.
ahead, and now he's a second behind.
He does look like he's driving that Ford GT right on the edge of its capabilities, though. Saw him twitching around under braking. Let's see the incident. Jansen in the lead into Curva de la Roja. Turns in.
Oh, it's just a slowdown, I think. Yep.
Ah, yeah, big slowdown.
Serves it well, to be fair. Straight away got rid of it, and that
got out of the way of
the best way of doing it.
Of Rose as well. Yeah, I think you're right, because if he'd have waited, then it could cause him all sorts of problems. And Evdoka now again having a move on Kaiser. He's up the inside. Kaiser leaves the door open. Evdoka is all too happy to walk through it. Kaiser tries to get the cut back. Well, he's working well.
Burke's going to be in the mix for this one. We've already talked about, though, on the YouTube channel, a lot of people saying that Burke just needs to keep it clean to the end of the race. I wonder if he'll just let these guys go at battle. Will he make this
great overspeed, though.
He's got the opportunity, but no, backs out a bit wisely. Evdoka on the outside. He's going to try to go all the way around the outside, and really cautious there from Kaiser.
Lovely
and,
stuff by Evdoka.
Yeah, once again, no contact. That's how it's done. And Burke will try maybe to get past Kaiser. He hasn't given up on Evdoka yet. Good straight line speed seemingly in that Team Mad fry, but he now backs out of it, and through goes Burke.
Yeah, Burke gains one of the places back then to fourth. Started on pole position, of course.
Top two now, nose and tail, as also nose and tail are McFadden and Bunn.
Oh, literally nose to tail. And again, McFadden's car all over the place. Laidler then coming through. Hard on the brakes for Laidler. Really throws that into Ascari. Bunn, brave, round the outside. This was a scene of a race that we had 5 different leaders on the last lap a couple of years ago.
Bunn's going to be susceptible now to the tow from the drivers behind. Going to the middle of the circuit, he's still going to be under pressure down the inside. Who is that? Is that McFadden trying to go through? And Laidler all the way around the outside. Nice done from him.
Here comes Setsas. He's trying to squeeze McFadden to get some of the slipstream off the guys in front. Now it's fanning out again, super close. Laidler again super late on the brakes. Bunn tries to resist it. Can't this time. Rusty Laidler, great move up into the top 10. But Sam, as we say all the time, can he keep it into Curva de la Roja? That's easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely. Just never ending this battle. I'm sure it's going to go right to the end as McFadden tries to go down the inside, but there just wasn't space. And still he's going to try to go for the meat.
Oh, it's a contact.
With contact. And Bunn is round. Well done to McFadden for not making that situation even worse. And Bunn for getting back going nice and quick. There has been a change for the lead. Jansen has overtaken Rose once again. He's clearly the faster driver, but Rose, with 1 and a bit laps to go, might still be able to come back at his rival. But you feel as though for Rose, the championship is far more important than a mere race victory. I'm sure he'd like to gain those 5 extra points or whatever it is in this series, but I think he might just settle for this solid second place.
Thompson up to 15th. See there, Mark Woodhouse 20th. Sorry, Chris Wood 20th. Paul Smith 24th. Ben Hackson up in 13th place. Josh Thompson, John Roberts 16th. Some great movers and shakers then. So we've just got 40 seconds to go. Here we go then. Josh Thompson starts his final lap from 14th place. Carl Jansen leads Christian Rose by half a second. See that battle at the front. On the last lap here at Monza. just 4/10 apart, the leaders. There it is. Christian Rose has done a great job of sticking with Carl Janssen. Always got a shot as long as he has the slipstream, and that's what the British driver is trying to do. Oh, the car crashing in front of them. Goodness me. And that has not helped Carl Janssen's cause. He did not want that distraction, Sam, as only now 4 corners between him and a win.
Yeah, I mean, he fully deserves this race victory if he can convert it. So quick. Remember, he started in 16th position. He picked up a slowdown, has had to overtake Christian Rose twice in this race, but he has done so. And it's not going to be by a big margin, but it's going to be by enough, surely, for the course sim racing.
That's a brilliant run by Rose.
I think Janssen's got it covered. Yeah, it's going to be the second race winner for course sim racing of the evening. Carl Janssen crosses the line to win at Monza, and that is a fantastic haul of points, a fantastic evening for him. Really does bring him back into championship contention. So too for Christian Rose, finishing in second position. Really close between Kaiser, Shield and Baker. In fact, an issue for Kaiser right at the end of that race because he lost out to Blake and fell into the clutches of Shield and Baker, but he finishes in 6th position anyway. Just seeing who's the top AM driver out there. In fact, it was Michael Blake and Steve Burke, 4th and 5th for AM drivers. Absolutely superb from those drivers. Also across the line is Gregory holding off Ayres and Woods. Any other close battles? I think Warmingham and Underhill are relatively close, but they have now crossed the line as well. Lars
Van Rijn and Macaulay, yeah. Oh, they're fighting hard into the last corner. And David White as well. White might get Van Rijn here. It's going to be close. Ooh. That was closer than it had any right to be. I think the Porsche was quite damaged. Chaz Draycott very happy on the YouTube chat for Stephen Burke, 4th place. I think I'm happy for him too. It was a great performance. Very experienced is Stephen Burke on iRacing now.
Once again, we see the formation finish from these drivers. Always know how to please the cameras.
Hell of a meeting, that, Sam.
Absolutely. I think the meeting of the season, Watkins was meme-worthy, definitely. But that was, in terms of the racing and the action and how it kept us second-guessing all the way. Just had no idea what was going to come next. Certainly Monza, a legendary race circuit. Of course, next time we'll be heading to Le Mans for the endurance race. Second endurance race of the season. Sebring was an epic. And certainly with the tyres, that's going to be really interesting because Sebring, it was marginally faster to change tyres. I think at Le Mans, I think they're not going to really have that opportunity because it's going to lose them too much time. And also on the fuel as well, could be quite marginal between a 2 and a 3 stop. That's all to come next week before we have a week break. But for now, we can go to the final results in this race 3 at Monza. It's Carl Janssen taking the race victory ahead of Christian Rose, only 0.4 of a second splitting them in the end. Michael Abdulker finished in 3rd position, of course, was involved in a bit of collision, might collect some penalty points for that, but it was still a very impressive performance. Cleared Steve Burke, the top of the AM drivers. Great performance from Stephen. Really raced that well. Didn't fight too many battles, and in the end, got his best result of the season. Michael Blake also very impressive in 5th. Ewan Kaiser impressive in 6th. Andy Shield finished in 7th with David Baker in 8th. There's Chris Staines and Sindre Sets. That's good recovery up 21 positions. For the former championship leader, I think it's going to be pretty... well, actually, no, he's going to still be in the lead of the championship. His sets us. So not too bad, Dave Bone, despite that bad result in race 2. Rusty Laidler was in 11th. Stuart McFadden in 12th. Ben Hackson was in 13th place. Josh Thompson had an issue at the start. Still recovers to 14th. That's not bad for him. Dan Kraft was in 15th. Then behind that was Matt Bunn, John Roberts, Ben Gregory, Jamie Ayres, and Christopher Wood rounding out the top 20. And then behind that was Mike Gray, Paul Smith, Mark Woodhouse, Richard Warringer, Simon Underhill, Adam Hedgecock, Jake Blackhall, Ronald Means, Jesse Stevens, Jason Dilworth, Miguel Freitas, Jamie Rushworth, Lee Woodburn, Josh Rayfield, Dan Murray, Lars Van Rijn, David White, Ross McFarlane, Robert Lundgren, Jason Rowe rounding out the top 40, and then behind that was Malcolm Labelli. Rusu 1 lap down, and the retirees Atkinson, Clark, Deemer, Jacobson, O'Connor, Butler, Hall, Sutton, and Spooner did not take the starts. Of course, hopefully we'll have some interviews with drivers, and we will have an interview with Josh Thompson. And Josh, well done out there. That race 2 victory was really impressive. He started up in 8th position, I believe, for that one. And, well, it looked as easy as a World GT victory can be.
Yeah, I think that was the easiest run I've had this season, especially with how strong the grid's been. So to get a win in a bit more of a laid-back style, obviously the grid reverse being a lot smaller than normal, it helped out massively. So yeah, overall that was quite a nice result after tonight.
In that race 3, we're just watching your start back. What happened there? Because you started in 20th position, and yeah, we're now seeing that now.
Someone, I checked up, I went to the inside, checked up, and I think it was a Nomad car. One of the Fords just took my rear and flicked me out to the right, and obviously there was cars everywhere. So yeah, that happened. Then I got spun around by Atkinson in the second chicane midway through the race. So.
You did well not to absolutely pile into everybody, I think, there, the way it was going.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was checked up, and I just knew straight away I was going to get hit because I was on the mid-corner apex.
Yeah, you certainly recovered well to 14th place. That race 1, though, that was absolutely epic, wasn't it? The batting, you guys had it. It looked, on the most part, clean. You and Sinjo, once again, almost coming into contact, but you know, it was on the edge of too aggressive, I'd say.
No, to be honest, I thought the race was good. Like, that's what it should be. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think overall that race was good. I think there was the one incident into turn 1 where it was 3 wide and the rejoin that was questionable. And I think you guys called out on the broadcast as well. A few of us have. So that was, I think, the main thing. I think the incident in the last corner was just unfortunate because I think they would have teed up for a nice last lap. But yeah, overall the race, it was good anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the endurance race next time, in the last endurance race at Sebring, you were very strong, but also Setsas and Janssen in particular were really strong. You're going to have a tough time on your hands to beat those guys at Le Mans, and also the Ferrari should be strong around there as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Le Mans, one of those tracks where it's all going to be a fuel mileage race. Even though it's only a 2 hour, it's still going to make a massive impact with the limited fuel size, like the tank size. But should be in good hands with obviously Neo 24-hour coming up. Obviously prepping away with the team for that, and obviously driving the Ford in that. So got a bit of a head start on that as well.
Yeah, it'll be great to see you there, Josh. And before you let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, first off to you guys for broadcasting. Good as always. Nice on the esports network as always. Saw there's a lot more viewers tonight, which is good. Everyone at CQR. So without those guys, again, I wouldn't have had a team for this series. So a massive thank you to those guys. Racehub as well for being the title sponsor of the team I'm in. Everyone at Movano as well. Without those guys, I wouldn't have the setups or the knowledge or anything. So massive thanks to those. And then Freebie UK, Grand Field Simulation.
Thanks, Josh. And I'm sure we'll see you soon on Apex Racing TV.
See you Wednesday.
So, next up, who do you fancy having a chat to, Woody?
I think that Christian is a decent one to get.
And
so Christian Rose joins us in the commentary box. Sorry about that. I can't think of a better way to do that after all these years. How are we doing, mate? Anyway, you okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Up and down night, certainly with a few incidents here and there, but that was a fantastic battle with Carl in the last race. Really enjoyed that.
Well, you came from, I can't remember what you said you came from, but about 53rd on the grid or something, up to about 16th or whatever it was in race 2. Just how crazy is it out there in a race like that?
When you're in like P50 going into turn 1, yeah, you
It even
have to.
sounds stupid, doesn't it? Even when you say it.
Exactly. You don't sort of expect that many cars to be appearing at turn one at 160 mile an hour, whatever. Yeah, we almost come to a complete stop. And the first few laps was really just a case of being very careful, listening to your spotter, listening to what your teammates are saying are happening ahead of you, and yeah, trying to work your way through the pack. Yeah, say to get to P17 and wherever it was, from P51 on the grid was challenging, but a lot of fun in the same sense.
It was one of the most entertaining meetings that I think we've had on the channel for quite some time. What am I trying to say? What's it like out there when you've just got to survive?
Yeah, as I say, in my position as well, I've been fairly consistent with my results, which has put me in a decent position in the championship. So I'm more of a let's not go for any risky moves. Let's just, learn when to pick your fights that you know that you can win. If you think you're gonna be in an accident, maybe it's time to back off. I think maybe I was not following that in race one. The incident with Jason, I think he's just locked up and it's ruined my car. But that's part of racing. But yeah, you're just trying your hardest to keep it on the black stuff and avoid any cars facing the wrong way.
Well, you've been in the series for quite some time now. What does it say about the championship when the racing's as close and as fairly clean? Let's be honest, for most of it, as it was.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Accidents happen. Even the very best drivers in the world have moments of madness and have an accident. So, you look at the quality of the field and how close it was in qualifying, for example. I mean, well, I think pole and second were separated by the 4th decimal, which our racing doesn't even show. So, yeah, there's so many quality drivers. If someone could predict a top 20 for me in a qualifying session, you'd be a smarter man than I am.
Yeah.
Fantastic driving throughout the field, really.
Well, we loved it. We know you did as well from what you've said. And do you want to give a shout out to the sponsors and the team and whoever you like?
First of all, to yourselves, for the fantastic streams. I know a lot of us enjoy watching them back, so I look forward to seeing what happened elsewhere in the field. And to everyone at CQR and Simmortal for sponsoring the series.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks very much for joining us once again, Christian, and go and take a well-earned rest for that.
Thanks. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
Next up,
Christian Rose Salmon. I think he's having a terrific few seasons in this championship, and tonight is just another example of, navigating those difficult waters again.
Yeah, he's got experience in the BSR championships that, of course, we cover on Apex Racing TV, and of course in this championship as well. So he knows how to avoid the crashes and how to accumulate the points well, and that's certainly giving himself half a chance at the season title. Next up, we'll have a chat with Sinjay Setsas, I think. And Sinjay, race winner today. It wasn't all plain sailing, but you must be very pleased with that race 1 victory at least.
I'm not pleased with anything. I think this is probably my worst week ever at World GT, and I had some shocking outings in season 3. So yeah, it was all really a mess. That race 1 was really good. Like it all kicked off when I got hit in the second chicane on the exit with a 4X. I was initially going for the 0X, so kind of all bets were off after getting that 4X, just going for the win.
Yeah, definitely, and that you did end up winning that race. I don't know if you remember, but of course at the Parabolica, there was a spin just in front of you, which in the end was the race deciding moment. From what you can remember, was there any contact that you were aware of, or did the car in front of you just spin by themselves?
I looked back at it, and it's a really weird one, because we go side by side. Jesse pushes like half a car width away from the apex, and then like at the apex, like his car like goes through my front right, so, and then at some point it just registers as a contact like a second after, and then his car spins to the right when if it wasn't that the car went through him, I'm sure that his rear would have just clipped over my nose, and we probably both would have veered off to the left instead of causing that massive pileup that happened. So kind of weird.
Yeah, very unusual incident that. And that second race, of course, that was kind of where the meeting went a little bit southwards for you. Just explain your incident at the Sky Chicane because I don't think we saw it on the broadcast.
Well, Carl made a move on Jesse, I think it was, and they both got tangled up, and I just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, I couldn't have done anything. And then went in for the fast repair, came out again. I think I was on for like a P25 or something, and then the car was stopped at the Scary, and just wrong place, wrong time again. So yeah, that was a very bad race.
Yeah, very unfortunate. You were in that race 2 of the evening, but on a positive note, you had fantastic pace up there. Next up, we head to Le Mans. It should be a really strong track for this car with the long straights. Maybe the Porsche curve's not quite so strong for it, but certainly the long straights you should be strong with. And of course, you won the last endurance race, or the first endurance race of the season at Sebring, so you must have a lot of confidence going into that.
Not really. I've done around Le Mans, I think I've done a total of like 0 laps the last year in a GT car, so it's, I don't have a setup, I don't have anything. I've literally ran the same setup the entire season, with some small tweaks like preload and stuff. But apart from that, it's basically the same setup, and Le Mans, that's still not gonna work. So I'm not confident at all in next week, and we'll see. There's gonna be a lot of protests after this one, probably more than Suzuka as well. So we'll see if I even get to start from up the field, or if I have to start at the back.
Yeah, well, we certainly wish you the best of luck. And before you head off, anyone you'd like to thank?
I want to thank Carl for racing with me in this. Makes it a lot more fun. I want to thank you for putting this show on. It's really fun. And then I want to thank all my teammates over at Core Sim Racing.
Thanks, Injay, and we'll see you in one week's time.
Yep.
I think our final interview is going to be with Carl Jensen. Woody, you okay to take this one?
Yeah, of course. Carl, welcome to the commentary box once again. Looked like you had a lot of fun out there tonight.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good. It was a lot of crashes too, though. But I guess that's it, really. Something with the Monza that brings up a lot of crashes, I guess.
I think it was probably better than what we expected, though. I think when we thought 55 cars were going to charge down to the first corner, I think we thought it might be a little bit, well, quite a lot worse, I think. But we had some great battles out there in the 4GT tonight. It looked like you were driving quite on the edge with it, though. Is it quite a difficult car to control at times?
I think it's more our setup that is right on the edge to be as quick as it possibly can get. It's a little bit twitchy sometimes in different places, but I don't think the Ford is more difficult than any other car. I think the Porsche is the most difficult car around here with this aero. It's like when you go down in wing on it, it gets very unstable and very spin out with.
So did it surprise you then, just how many people have picked the Porsche, considering what you just said there?
I mean, the Porsche have been the fastest GT car for a long amount of time on certain tracks where you need traction. And a lot of people have been driving the Porsche in like IMSA and iRacing Le Mans series and all that. So most people already have knowledge with it instead of like Ferrari and Ford. So I think that's why a lot of people have picked the Porsche.
Well, well and truly up into the top 5 now in the championship at this pretty much the halfway point. Do you think you can go and win another championship?
Yeah, I definitely think I can win it. Just need some luck, and not have any more bad rounds, because I had 2 bad rounds. Watkins Glen was a very bad round. We had a crash in race 3, I think it was, and then Suzuka I spun at Boone, and then yeah, I was just a mess in race 1, and in race 2 I got flipped. So I just need to keep it on the clean side now for the rest of the season, and then hope for the best, really.
Yeah, keep it the right way, facing the right way up is half the battle in some of these championships. Well done anyway. Give your shout outs, do your thing for the sponsors.
I would like to thank Cinder and also you for broadcasting. It's very, very good to have this podcast. It makes participation a lot better, I think, as well. And then I would like to thank the whole core team for all the help with setups and stuff.
Well, I know I've said it tonight, but it was a hell of a race, and yeah, we're very, very pleased to be broadcasting it, and we're very, very pleased that you're doing so well. So well done, Carl, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, we'll do.
Right then, Sam. So have we got any more, or is that us done? That's us done, I think. So
I think so.
But well done for calling that one as well as we did. I think between us, 55 cars, it's never easy, and well done, by the way, to Sam Kumo and the cameras, who he always has the toughest job, I think, Sam, out of all of us.
Absolutely, because we if anything goes wrong, we always pin it on him. So really got quite a bit on his back. But yeah, of course, apologies to anyone if you were involved in an epic battle. And we didn't quite catch you. Hopefully you understand that, of course. There was a lot going on. And,
they were everywhere.
Yeah, I'm glad that we managed to fill all 60 minutes of racing, and quite a bit of qualifying as well, with non-stop action. So it was absolutely fantastic out there. Of course, check out Apex Racing TV. Of course, our normal YouTube channel. Of course, we'll be broadcasting the World F3 Championship there on every Wednesday. I think you can also catch a replay of this race on our channel as well. And of course, there's the BSR leagues, the MX5 leagues. We've also got a Sebring 90-minute race on Saturday. Entry still open to that. Entry details can be found on our Facebook page as well. And of course, next week we'll be heading to Le Mans before a week's break. That'll be meeting 6 of the season. It'll be a 2-hour endurance race. There'll be 2 or 3 pit stops, maybe even a change of tyres as well. Sebring was an awesome endurance race. I'm sure that's going to be a similar action in 1 week's time. But for now, from me, from Andrew, and from Sam as well, we'll say goodbye, and we will see you next time.